I'm an artist. Get me out of here. You could at least smash that thumbs up button. I like to add some colour to my knobs, just so I can get some better reception. Oh no! It might be a good time to start the stream.
Can't see any Technic around me, so I'm alright.
At least I know the sound's working.
Yeah, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Hello, everybody!
You know, could be wrong, but Harry Potter is important.
His name is in the title. Maybe a bit strange if he's not in there.
I thought they smell funny, but not that I sniff my Lego.
You know, the voice where you can change the pitch of your voice. I went, oh yeah. When he's in the toilet.
It's definitely for kids and so on, or Nicole. But
I've done this much.
I think it needs water.
Oh.
you know, going from the Home Alone set to this is like being kicked in the nuts while standing on Lego bricks barefooted. You know, that's about it.
I built him. Partner's a bat ecologist, so he was like ready to have all the bat stuff.
That's why your camera was upside down.
Yes.
No, it's just painful. But what's worse is the set was missing a wheel. So look, it's just got two front teeth there.
I thought you hadn't finished it.
You know, whenever anyone gets your Lego set now, it's going to be Technic.
That is amazing. That looks like an angel.
Good evening and welcome along to Family Bricks Livestream number 50 in this season, which will be the final episode for this season as such. Hope that everyone is going well. We're just here for a couple hours, hanging out with some friends and chatting Lego construction blocks and everything else in between. And usual sort of things for social media: press button, share, like, subscribe, thumbs up, all that good things there that we do. And a shout out to the replay gang, Brian's Bricks. Always appreciate the guys watching this back on replay. I usually say if you put a comment down below, then we'll give you a shout out in the next one, but that might be some time away, so I can still do that. And sort of mentioned it last time, the elephant in the room in terms of what's happening with the stream. I'm just going to be taking a break for a little bit. I always think of sometimes these things as like juggling. There's only so many balls you can juggle at the time between work and kids and family and all sorts of other things. So it seems that if you do too much, you're going to start dropping. You know, there's only so many balls you can juggle. You throw an extra one in, and they all come crashing down. So it just feels a little bit like it's at that capacity as such. So I know other times live streams, they just sort of disappear, and at least get a chance to wind this up. So I've had last couple of weeks bringing back a lot of people who've been on the streams and things, and we've got a very full house tonight, which is great to see. Great to see all the support, which everyone's sort of out there doing that. Off to the side, we've got a poll this week as well, and sort of just sort of, do people lose credibility or integrity reviewing products they don't buy? Yes, how can you be objective that way? No, interested in anyone's opinion. It's a bit of a grey area, or the usual sort of meh. It's like, look over there, squirrel. So with that, got that. And there's just one little thing. I just wanted to take a moment here, if I can find the graphic, and just say a thank you to everyone who's been either on the stream or taking time to comment in the chat and things like that. I've tried to go through and pick out as many names as what I could from over the now 50 odd streams and things. So hopefully, I know once I put that together, it's sort of like, oh, wait a minute, I just missed a door build. So there might be a couple of names which are missing off there, but for everyone else, appreciate that. And thanks very much for, spending some time with us and watching it back and enjoying the craziness that we sort of do here. So with that, I think we'll just give one more time a quick little plug to the sponsor, and then we'll start bringing people in.
This video is brought to you by McCatsim Holiday Homes in Margate and Broadstairs. Great for a week's holiday or a weekend escape, being just over an hour east of London, UK. Treat yourself to amazing sunsets, a Lego wall, or great food. Visit www.macatsim.com and mention this YouTube video and we'll look after you.
And with that, we'll just start bringing in some of our regulars. So first out of the gate, Martin, good to see you.
Hiya.
Lady MacBrick, always good to see you. The Mock Master himself, Askew.
Evening.
The Hoodie Master herself, Bonnie.
Hello.
The Technic Master himself, One Brick Stud. And how are we all going?
You're on mute.
We're all good, thanks.
Good. Like in the names.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sort of.
Good. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, going well. Sort of, yeah, it feels weird. So, like last time, because there's always just a bit of prep going into it and trying to figure everything out, and last minute bit of chaos. So, I'm sure come next week I'll be missing it as such. But no, it's good. It's good to have everyone in, and good to see a lot of familiar faces sort of coming back, which is sort of invited. So I'll just start bringing them in so we can all get into it. And bring in...
will we start a bet on whether we will get messages next week, same time? Hey guys, where are you? I'm sitting here. Guys.
I can set up a dummy stream just for you, Lady MacBrick. FabBlondie Bricks, great to see you in. And also great to have back in the Brickbods. Welcome back.
Hello. Hey.
Hi.
Good to see you guys. Big part of the original block of streams, and also to ShyTimeIsMyTime. Good to see you in. Hope that you're doing well.
Thanks for having me, Jen.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you in, and also one of the OG from the very first one, Brett's Builds. At least we got the castle view there, so I hope is over there or just off screen. Oh, there's the hand. So, yeah, I think sort of said that to everyone. Just been doing a couple of the chat sort of going out there. A few people good to see who just pull up. Bazza, good to see you. I'm sure you're probably happy with today's little announcements. Two Humble Bricks, good to see you. I saw Monarch there as well. And Titanium J, TJ, good to see you. And Brick Stage Pass, good to see you as well. Thanks for at least stopping by. Appreciate that. And Monarch, Technic Master, could that be because Gringotts tease? That's an interesting one. I'm sure that Chris loves that in any way, shape, and form.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And with that, yeah. All right. I think we'll just do a quick little spin around, see what people are sort of might be building or doing today on the stream and such. As a little bit for me, the very first stream which I did was plan to build a Sonic and never did that, so I thought I'd just do the token thing here. I plan not to build this, but at least it's a Sonic and I can build around it, so at least we're consistent.
Yeah.
We might start with Martin. What are we sort of looking at building or doing today?
Well, because this Saturday is Lunar New Year, I've decided to actually build the Lunar New Year GWP, the little dragon.
Oh, excellent.
And I like the fact that it comes with a little envelope. You are supposed to gift it to someone. So you put an envelope, put some money in it. Unfortunately, nothing in mine. So, yeah. Yeah. But I do like the little, the foil blocked dragon on the back. That's really nice.
That's pretty cool.
So that's a really cool little add-on. And then if I finish that, I'll be going on to, I'll be building Yoda's starship after that. So, yeah, so that's my plans for this evening.
You've got a couple of nice ones there. Yeah, I'm surprised with the Lego one, because usually with it's a good idea with them doing that money packet, but I always thought the money packets were always red. So why they've gone?
Yeah, I think it's red on the inside. So yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I think there was the one maybe last year's or the year before who was red on the outside. It was like the proper red envelope, I thought.
No. Okay, we've got some of it there. So, Lady MacBrick, what are we sort of looking at doing this evening?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
I'm starting with the
Nice.
kitchen. Yeah, I really look forward to it. I'm not really sure yet how I'm going to build it. I will start at some point, just somewhere, because I'm still not convinced whether I should put it on Mills plates or not.
You
Yeah.
just have to have a bit of a think about it. So, and Monarch saying woohoo, and it's good seeing Ollie's stream last night with Monarch on it, and really a sense of how he came into Friends and everything like that, and certainly have a better appreciation for those things. And speaking of which, Ollie, what are you sort of looking at building this evening?
I am trying to not drop it, but I'm trying to build up a wave on this. So this wave at the back, I had it finished, and then I realised I'm going to do it twice as big. So I broke it down, and I started it again, basically. So yeah, I'm going to try and build that up, have it all over here.
Oh wow!
Actually,
that looks coming along really nicely. So great to see that.
thank you. Yeah, it's turned out to be a bit of a labour of love. I'm not used to mocks lasting this long. I usually do them for a week or two and then move on to the next one. And this has been 3 weeks, I think, so far. So I hope I have it done soon because I'm getting a bit bored of it.
So if you're getting to that point where you need to sort of finish it and move on.
yeah, exactly.
Cool. Oh, it'll be interesting to check back in and see how you're getting on with that one. And Brickbods, what are we sort of looking at doing all during this evening?
We're sorting.
Yeah.
We seem to be constantly sorting these days.
So much to sort.
Yeah. And nowhere to put the stuff that we sorted, so
You've got some clean space right behind you.
yeah, we need to get something to put on this wall to put parts in. We're hoping to get more drawers, like the rainbow drawers, and that'll go higher. But it's still, we've more parts than we realised. So
there's a lot of parts lying around the house.
Yeah, house being definitely whole house.
Yeah, first world problems.
It is a mess.
And FabBlondie Bricks, what are you sort of going to be building or doing this evening this afternoon? Oh, I think you might be on mute.
Yes, I am. I'm just kind of like taking stuff apart that's in a box, like old dimension and stuff like that. And then I'm going to work on trying to come up with some trees for my city. That's my plan. So if anybody has ideas for trees with limited parts, I am
I think
open.
she's talking to you, Ollie.
Yeah, give me a shout.
Ollie's even got up on Rebrickable free tree instructions, and it's a pretty cool tree actually. So I've built a couple of them.
Okay, I need a link to that.
Yeah, I'll send you one. I'll dig it out and send it over.
Thank you.
It works.
Yeah, it's very cool with that. And Chris, I have a funny feeling we might be building something from the same theme this evening.
Yeah, because it was just big news. I had to just leak that information a few days ago that I will be building this tonight. Can't wait to build it. I've since the start of the year, it's just been full on. A little bit of Harry Potter, but Sonic, and because I managed to snap it up at game at £6 cheaper, I had to get it. So yeah, I'll be building that tonight.
Okay, great, excellent. And Bonnie, what are you sort of looking at building this evening?
I've been saving this for your stream, Matt. It was a very special build. Hi.
Oh.
So excited to build this. Aaron started a new job and his office is right over from the Lego store. So he was nice enough to nip in one day and get this, because I didn't go for like February 1st or anything like that. I was just going to hold off and get it home in March. But he came home with this and like the latest BAM stuff. So I'm super happy to get this guy. So I'm just building him now. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I would imagine that you'll get that reasonably soon. It won't take a whole stream.
I've got a backup.
We got back up there. Good to hear then. And with that, Shy, what will you see sort of be building, or are you working or something? Or
It's the middle of a work day, so I'm working. Yeah, no building for me.
No building, just managing to sneak a few little hours or on stream as such. So no, we appreciate.
You ever get caught out? Do you ever get caught by work for streaming? Or do you
I know, yeah. So like I do a lot of my coworkers do follow my Lego Instagram, so at least if they come on, they can see that I'm working.
You're actually doing a better job now, right? You are helping. They can supervise you while you're working.
Be interesting to see if your productivity actually increases. So all of a sudden, if he's on
I do better working from home than going to my own office.
Yeah, is your office sort of a bit of a trek?
Yeah, it's about 26 miles from where I live, but it's like 26 miles in LA, so that's about an hour.
Yeah. I know it's much the same in London. Like, it only takes from here to the kids' school or something, it's only about 3 miles, but it takes like half an hour, 45 minutes each way. It's sort of like, wow.
Exactly. So I have to deal with that in a little bit to go pick up my son from school. So
cool. All right then. And great to have you. And Brett's builds. What are we sort of going to be working on? Are you just around for a bit of a chat?
I'm sorting as well. Forever sorting. Getting parts ready.
Ready for your next latest castle adventure?
Always.
Great, excellent. Well, great to have you. And I thought I'd just sort of kick this off. Went back through a lot of the old streams and was just picking out bits and pieces, sort of walking down, a little bit of memory lane as such. So we'll just sort of go through that.
Technology thing. How dare they do that?
Hello, welcome along to another Family Bricks YouTube live stream.
Yeah, pretty dandy. Yeah, good.
Family people, do I look like a family person?
I am the panel king.
Huh?
The panel king, B-Fab. Lego panel.
You call yourself the panel king? Don't.
Because this is the first ever time I've been on the live, I didn't want to build anything too big. I'm going to attempt to build that.
Get him some wings.
He's so cool. No, I don't want to be a chicken. Don't make me a chicken.
A pirate's theme would still fit into my Lego city somehow, right?
So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang it on a shelf in good health and good time.
That's such a good idea. Do Rebels versus Stormtroopers or something, and then I can have it in every Lego Star Wars mock or something.
Because I thought children don't fall from the sky and all of a sudden are 8 years old and build Legos.
Where does Monarch actually come from?
It's actually really boring. I just misspelt Mark.
It's not accurate enough. It's boring. Stop doing review content.
They do a lot of like old Nintendo games. This is Kid Icarus, video game Kid Icarus.
Project onto it, sort of shadow puppets or whatever. So it's very difficult when you're doing this backwards in a mirror.
How can you not love this ship? It's a pirate ship. It's a shark. It's a monster truck. It's a plane. It's everything.
I'm waiting for you to get to a year that I don't have any sets from. Yes, I don't have anything.
I like conversation, and if it happens within the Lego space, it's me even happier.
This is 100% TJ's fault. I have been watching Ninjago, and I am fully invested.
I really do need to make a T-shirt that says "Blame TJ."
I roused Cabbage fan. Sentence I never thought I'd say.
They might like this because they might not have to queue for hours and hours to get shot in the head and have to queue for hours and hours to go again.
When those lists were getting shared in our little chat, and Chris was all like, "Oh, I'm so happy." I was literally
just sitting there like green in the face. I was like, I'm sorry. I was just
Oh no, why? That was the only time on a stream that was it on stream? It was on stream. It wasn't after that I actually swore because I was just getting so riled up. Oh my gosh!
I'm pretty sure you're the one who swears the most out of all of us on stream.
That's the only time. Oh. No, to be fair, I still stand by why I was annoyed, but like, there's never an excuse.
I thought we did pretty well. I think we made it to like stream number 48 before we had something like that. So
Just shows you how much passion you can get into with Lego. It's like,
I still love that though. And everyone said I love it.
It's a little bit like our chat earlier today. I feel like quite a few people were getting a bit green in the face with stuff. Like Nicole's latest message I just read before we came on, and I was like, whoa, there's going to be some interesting conversation today. Yeah.
I mean, it's the. I could make like probably an hour worth of Nicole-isms, but just
entertainment gold.
Trying to pick out just a couple of quick ones that will sort of pop people in there, sort of thing. So just a couple of quick ones there. And Simon's asking, "Where's the Blame TJ shirt?" One day it'll happen. And notice how Lego Technocrane was left out. Yes, we don't talk about that. And oh my God, please, yes, the T-shirt as such. What else?
I didn't realise that Sam could look any younger as well. I thought he looked young enough, but man, he was younger than he is now.
I'm just trying to think when, because that was probably about 6 months ago. Yeah. All right.
The pod racer Mocker's aged clearly.
Long hairs. Yeah, put a few years on them.
Yeah, I did actually invite Sam, to be fair, back, and he's sort of like, no, a bit too busy. But yeah, I have a funny feeling I know what you might be doing. So
I like how tech can make it, though.
Well, he just outsources everything. He's got it right. But I think we'll start. One thing while Shy is still here, start with Shy. The last time we started talking, you just sort of wrapped up Cali Brickklink and about to sort of launch into Sitting on the Stoop, which you're now up to. I think you released episode 6. Was it earlier today?
6 hasn't released yet. I just did the short for it just because it's relevant due to what's happening in the US this weekend, which is the Super Bowl. Yeah, so Ross and I had a conversation that kind of relates to it, so I decided to release a snippet of it. But that episode's like 2 hours long. I don't know if I'll finish it on time, so I just released a short of it today.
Cool. It was funny going back through some of the streams because I was watching some of the stuff you talking about Sitting on a Stoop. It's like, yeah, it'll be 30 minutes, 40 minutes sort of thing. Don't want it much longer than that. It's like...
The problem is, like, Ross and I can probably talk to each other for days. So when I have someone in front of me that I can just... and everyone that I went to go interview at like Austin, Texas... I already had like a list of like topics that we're going to talk about per person, except for Emily and Ross. Like I had Mr. Saurus, nothing. It was just blank. And out of all of them, his was the longest because we had no talking points. We were just kind of talking. And 2 hours later, I'm like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. I think we should just end it. So I'm dealing with that episode right now, and it's 2 hours long. And it's not 30 minutes, and I kind of wish it was.
But at the same time, those are the best conversations.
Yes. I think we go into what kind of tool guy I am. Like, am I a DeWalt guy or a Milwaukee guy? We talked about grass for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes. Like, it's really like I think like an hour in, we finally talked about Lego for like a second, and then that was pretty much it. But,
cool.
It's so far it's been pretty fun. It's really cool to invite myself to these people's homes because that's usually how the conversation goes, right? I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be here. You down to do an episode, and can I come over? So,
good precedence, right? Quite a good excuse.
Exactly. And you know, it's fun to see like their like this space, like their personal space with what they share to the world like in person. Because it's been fun for them to come over my house and when they're here, and to be in shock when I turn on the camera and they see what I look like, but them sitting in this exact chair looking at my lighting with my camera, and they like freak out. So it's cool to like sit down in their own rooms in their own chairs and kind of immerse myself into their own personal space. So,
and how do you find, once obviously very much like your shot there, we see a certain way that you have it set up. What's it like then, having seen some of these people and then stepping into their spaces? Are you sort of like, oh, this makes sense, or it's like, wow, this is really different? Or
no, I mean, well, everyone that I've been to so far, or let me go backwards. So any Lego room that I've been to outside of sitting on a stoop, plus sitting on a stoop, it's exactly what I expect because I've seen it so many times. So the crazy part is seeing what's on the other side of the camera. Because you guys don't know what's right here and behind this camera. You guys don't really see what's on this side of the wall or whatever. So that's like one thing, is to be like, oh, that's what's on the other side. And then two, how big or small it is in person. Because we all have a perception of how big the space is based on what I can see, like Lady MacBrick, like I can tell that room's a little big just because I know how big those modulars are. So how far that is from the back of your head, you have some space there. Bonnie, I can't really tell because she's flat against the wall. So I do have those same shelvings to the right of, or to the right of her, so I can kind of see how big that is based on where she's sitting at. Same thing with the Brickbods. Like I know you guys are flat against the wall, but FabBlondie's like it's like you have space from where you're sitting to the back of that wall, so you can kind of get a gist of like how big the room is based on where you're sitting, and in relatively space to how big the sets are behind you. But to see it in person, it kind of changes what you think you can see or perceive it to be to actually what it is, and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty big, or oh, this is kind of pretty small. Like seeing the sources like city, it's like, oh my god, this is huge. Stuff like that.
Yeah, much the same. When I think Emily's done some shorts and things like that, and she pulled out, I think, was it a Stranger Things box or something like that? And it's a fairly sizable box, and there's just this row of like space. Like, that's actually something quite big.
I mean, none of their homes, or any homes that I've been to, not just theirs, but it's not like you're overwhelmed with Lego immediately when you walk in the door. Like it looks like a normal home. It's just when they open that door where everything's at, you're like, or you walk up the next level to where everything's at, you're like, oh yeah, this is a Lego fan for sure. But for the most part, like every time you open the initial door of the house, you can't tell that a Lego fan lives there.
That would not be true for my house. Yeah. Because when you open up my front door, you can see some of my Lego parts storage, and my entertainment center is almost all Lego. And then part of my backlog is in my dining room.
Oh, okay. Well, then that'll be interesting to see. But I would expect exactly what you just said in all of our homes. But it's just interesting to see the dynamic of parent with kids versus bachelor pad versus couple no kids. Like you kind of like, for example, Josh built stuff, right? Him and I have a very similar situation with like children around relatively same age, and then spouse who does not care about Lego whatsoever, and home, right? So we have to have that kind of balance of taking over. When you go into his home, it looks like a beautiful home, but then he opens his room, and you're like, oh, there it is. So same thing. You're like, oh, the rule here is that there's no Lego outside of this office unless the kids bring it out and they're playing with it. But when you walk in here, you can't tell at all. But then when you open this office door, you're like, wow, you have a problem.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing the look on friends' faces.
Yeah.
I mean, go to the rest of your house and it's fine, and they're like, "Oh wow, okay, I knew you were into Lego, but
not like this."
So
But there hasn't been one person that I've brought into this room that hasn't been like overwhelmed with joy. I mean, they're probably judging in some stature, but like for the most part, they're like, "Wow, this is really cool." You know, like I brought some pretty scary people in here, and I brought some pretty like innocent people in here, and every single in all ranges, it's actually been pretty cool to watch. But again, it is funny to see the differences between, you know, the balance of how much Lego's outside of the office based on your significant other and or, you know, your children and or your spouse. So it's actually really
that would be quite fascinating to see, and it does sound like very much a Wizard of Oz type moment when they, you know, Dorothy's first lands Oz, and you know it's all the sepia grayscale, and then she opens up the door, it's all the color there, and
exactly. That's a very good analogy.
As soon as you said it's like, yeah, that's kind of it. But then, yeah, getting back onto what FabBlondie was saying, it's like, yeah, as soon as you open the front door here, it's like you can tell, and I mean, at least partially can blame it on the kids. Yeah, it's the kids' stuff, and then
oh no, you can't do that with.
You can't do that with me.
But I also have to remember, like the people that I went to, at least this past 5 episodes, I'm going to inevitably release. Like I've seen their spaces in some facet, like for years. So to finally step into it, it's like finally, like, oh, this is really cool. This is like, I know, like I didn't really get the sight see and at least get the opportunity to, but it was totally worth it for me.
Yeah. And does it also change? I guess it's still young in what you're doing. You know, Austin is it's in Texas, so it's pretty big to begin with, and you have space. Whereas I would imagine somewhere like San Francisco, where space is at a premium, you know, it might affect how much or how.
Of how they, I mean, so the homes that I went to in Austin, they're all relatively different, like size and space. So, you know, you have a bachelor pad all the way up to a, you know, 2-story house. How it's laid out, it's usually based on space. So if you have more space, you just get more Lego. But you know, like, you know, again, like Josh's home, his space isn't as nearly as big as 2 of the other places, but it's well curated. And same thing with Jean's home. It's well curated. Like her house is big, but when you walk in, you won't know that it's a Lego fan. So you walk upstairs, but like it's well curated. So it's interesting to see what people leave out for people to see versus, you know, put in a storage bin and put in the garage. You know, like for me, a lot of my stuff's packed away. You can't see it. This is what I allow people to see, but for most of it, a lot of it's packed up in pieces and or in the garage. So it's, you know, but again, so like Rob the builder, his episode hasn't released yet, but he's the bachelor pad, right? He lives in a small apartment by himself. You walk in there, total bachelor pad. He has Lego everywhere. But that's not his entire collection. A lot of his collection's in his parents' home in Michigan. So there's no way he can fit all that in his apartment. So it's really just interesting to see, like, but then again, so I've been to Claire's home and Sansa's home in San Francisco, you know, very tight, you know, space because it's San Francisco in a beautiful apartment, but they, you know, they have their own room where they have, you know, their Lego, but you know, in the living room, Claire does a great job with curating what Lego pieces to have on her bookshelf. And, you know, random, okay, like she'll change out for decorative reasons. She'll have it out like on the table or, you know, whatever season's going on, but it's not like overwhelming. So it's funny to see, not really funny. It's interesting to see what people are willing to leave out for the world and or hide from the world when people do come over.
Yeah. And I would imagine also to being someone who's in the space and been there for quite a while, you can sort of then start to see the trends or sort of go, okay, well, that's from this era or whatever, and really pick up on that. So, okay, excellent. No, that's it's been something interesting because, you know, our plan has been at some stage to knock this house down. So we're sort of looking at doing that in like a year's time to rebuild it, which then means, you know, obviously going through and putting stuff in storage or whatever else, and particularly after Ollie and a couple of the other guys on the panel have moved and things like that, like for me, seeing Ollie take sets apart and then for weeks on end and then rebuild it and stuff like that is like that is not appealing to me in the slightest. So like, okay, what can I start downsizing? And so there's been a fair bit of stuff going out on eBay and stuff like that to really condense it down, because it's hard enough to get time to build the sets the first time, let alone think about taking it apart, rebuilding. So something which we were sort of talking about a little bit last week, but pick up with maybe the Brickbods in terms of over the period of time, how has sort of your Lego collection changed, or your buying habits, and you sort of gone through phases, and then how you sort of deciding on things these days?
I don't think it really has changed all that much.
Well, I think we buy a lot more than we probably used to. Do you not think? Because I'm here all the time and I'm like, oh, bargain, buy, bargain, buy.
There's a lot of stuff that you buy that I have no knowledge of.
That is how it should be. How it will stay.
But you buy stuff that you have no knowledge of. That's how we end up with multiples of sets that you only realise when you go to put one away. You go, oh, there's already one here.
That's only happened a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's when I'm like halfway through a brick haul and I'm like, oh, I've got 2 of these figures. Whoops! Don't tell Ian. And it's like you then watch the video.
Yeah,
doesn't work well. No, I think we've pretty much just always been buying lots.
We've always tried to kind of stick to the idea that we have to carefully justify everything we buy, as opposed to trying to put a budget. Yeah. Because if you try and put a budget on it, then you'll sometimes go, well, this month I've not spent much on Lego. I'll go and buy this thing that you don't really want, but you've got the excess budget. You're going to use it.
We never have excess budget.
No. and then the other extreme of you don't buy something that you really want because you've got no budget. Then it retires, and then you end up spending a fortune on the aftermarket for it.
Yeah, so even when we had like little kids, we were still buying because we knew we wanted those sets. We'd buy them and eventually get round to it. Yeah. So that was like wise move, because otherwise all of those modulars would have cost us a fortune.
Yeah.
So, and we're slowly getting through the backlog from having little kids.
I mean, at some stage, weren't you sort of doing it that you either were buying stuff either to fit in your city or for one of your mocks, and if it didn't kind of fall into that category? Or
I think definitely our purchases are driven by the city. We occasionally get things like Bowser because they're cute and we have to have them, but most of the time we're like, well, we can't fit it in. We'll have to like say no to that one.
Yeah,
I'm less good at that because I'm like, I really want it.
What we try and do is ignore Carrie when she says, I just want to build it and then I'll sell it again.
Because it's a lie.
She's never sold any Lego ever.
Nope.
And so, so we try to avoid that. So, most things will go in the city or we're going to use them somewhere else. There are a few that we bought which we've just decided will go on display.
Yeah.
But that's actually quite a small number of sets relative to everything else.
Yeah, most things have a plan to go in the city, and sometimes you'll find that you buy something to go in the city, and then 2 years later you haven't built it yet, and there's a set that's similar but better. You're like, can I buy that one as well? I buy that one as well.
Yeah.
Fine. One day I will sell something.
One day. Yeah. I'm about to jump over to FabBlondie. I think might be an opportune time. How do over the time, how do you sort of consider your purchases today, and maybe how they've sort of changed over time? Like what sort of drives what you sort of are buying?
So Harry Potter is what got me into Lego, so that's always been constant. That's just constant. But now, I do consider about what I'm going to buy for my city. And I used to buy so I got into Lego literally 1 week before the pandemic and everything shut down in the US. So that was kind of awesome, but not at the same time. And so I bought everything online and I had all this extra income because wasn't doing anything, so I was buying anything and everything just because, oh, that's a cool set. I like that set, and I was brand new, so it was just like whatever. But now things have changed because I'm kind of sort of currently unemployed, so there's like a really super strict tight budget for me. But I still stick with my themes that I buy. So like I'm still gonna buy Harry Potter. I just won't buy like the whole release on March 1st like I used to. It'll just be spaced out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how, for me, that's how it's been. And I do have this habit for when I want, like for Christmas or for my birthday that's coming up, I'll put the really expensive sets on my wish list and hope that I get them. And I usually get one or two. And then, you know, like Rivendell, I'm like, okay, I'm going to need to figure out how I'm going to get this one. But then I also save up points and I use things like cashback because we have cashback credit cards. So I use cashback. I use one of my credit cards that gets cashback, and I use Rakuten. And like if I order online, I'm getting every possible bonus I can. So I'm getting insider points, Rakuten cashback, and cashback on my credit cards that I use.
Yeah.
So I like really, sometimes it seems like I did used to spend a lot, but now I don't spend it as much. And especially now.
Yeah, because
being unemployed. But
circumstance. And then I think, certainly it seems a lot of people when you first discover Lego or get into it, it's like, you know, buying everything you can, and then it's sort of like, oh, there's a whole bunch of sets I've just recently missed out on. Let's sort of dip back into some of those, and then you'd eventually get to
kind of like an addiction when you first get started. It's an addiction, and then you'll like go back. Especially for me, I go back and I would go on Bricklink and I would find, oh, there's this series called Monster Fighters. I want the whole series now. So like I'm working on collecting that series slowly but surely. And so like it is kind of an addiction, but like I've been able to control it here recently, but during the pandemic it was not controlled. That's why my backlog is really big, and I was spending faster than I could build.
I've seen a picture of Fab's backlog. It's the biggest I've seen. It's just like a Lego store. But in the hallway.
I have part of my backlog in the dining room. That's the main part. And then I have there's like 2 sections that you can't see on camera. And then there's some back here on these shelves here. Is all backlog.
You've got enough to keep you busy, which I mean, I think
for at least 5-10 years. No joke.
Which last week when we were having a chat to Chris, he's sort of like at the other extreme. It's like, I usually only have like 2 or 3 sets because I want to get through them, and
but I used to be like that. I used to have backlogs, and I suppose I've always, like I said last week, and I've always found myself to be consistent with how I've always purchased Lego. But the things I've tweaked, again, like I said last week, is just reducing the backlog ever so slightly, and actually elongate your building experience as well. Because if I've got a set that I could technically finish this weekend, but no, I'm going to build it throughout February. If I finish it now, I've got to go and buy another set, because I sometimes find you can build too quickly. But I kind of find that if I've got a few sets, like I think the biggest backlog I've ever had, and again, you could look at it from different angles. You could have like 9 sets, or you could have one big set that is more expensive than 9 other sets. So the backlog, sometimes the quantity of how many sets you've got doesn't necessarily matter. It's actually the value of that backlog, because you could have 9 sets. It doesn't come to the price of one Avengers Tower.
Let's not talk about the value of my backlog.
Absolutely. But, but I've always tweaked my backlog. If I've got a set, I'll build it, enjoy the experience. And then if I've got another set on standby, I'll build that one as well. And then I will buy something, because you never know. If you are building your sets, you got 2 sets to go. The set that you actually want might end up on discount by the time you've finished the last 2 sets you've got in your backlog. I think if you have got a few sets on standby, maybe just hold your horses, a little bit.
Yeah, no, I certainly feel like, and said this before on stream, is like I'm usually buying stuff which is on the retirement list, and that's where I'm sort of at. So by that stage, there's a lot of things that you had a good chance to be on discount before that. So I think
for me, part of it was FOMO, and just worried that I'm not going to get it, because sometimes I don't know. Like, Shy's in the US, so he might be able to talk to this. Like, I can't find a lot of sets that are on sale that often. Yeah. It's really hard for me to find sets that are on sale. So I feel like I have to see it when I see it. Like, I have to buy it when I see it, because I can't find those sale prices. Because I even started a new series, Fab Deals, trying to find sets that are on sale, and it's really hard. Like, I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to keep the series up.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I mean, just because I guess the content we just sort of watch, do watch some of the American YouTube investors and things like that, and they're always on about all the deals that they've been able to get. I mean, is it sort of city specific or state specific, or do you need to live next to a Walmart which happens to do crazy deals, and it's like just going on the spot?
I live legit. I could walk to my Walmart if I wanted to. I wouldn't, but I could. It's like 5 minutes from my house if you drive. And I mean, granted, my Walmart is not one of the best Walmarts in the country. It's actually one of the worst ones. It's like on a list of like, your car is more likely to be carjacked at this Walmart out of all the Walmarts in the country. But like, it doesn't matter when I go, there's barely any sales. And what is there, it's crap. And there's not that much left. And I think it might just be for my city, but even trying to find deals online, because that's what I'm trying to do, is like find the Amazon deals, mainly the Amazon deals. And there's just not that many, in my opinion.
The UK market seems to have gone. There seems to be a lot more sales in the UK in the last 6 months than there were a year ago. It's gone a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Nicole always finds deals on Lego too.
Not necessarily on Lego, but on Amazon Germany.
Well, that's what I mean. Just in general,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Germany is something like the second biggest Lego market by country. Like, it's something crazy. So, So it seems like they've got the capacity to do sales and things, but yeah, there's sometimes the deals that they go on, even if we pay for shipping from the UK, it's still 20% cheaper than what we can get it here. Like, it's kind of crazy at times. But
it's a curse and a blessing, both equally. Because when you see a set 47, 50 something % discounted and you kind of like it anyway, the temptation to get it increasingly
goes up.
Sweeps you over. Yeah, I'm speechless whenever I see these discounts. Like, I wasn't into flowers at all. Then I bought the roses. I absolutely love the roses. And then I saw the summer flowers and wasn't interested in it in the first place. And then I saw it 47% discounted, 34 euros. And I thought, well, if it's gone, it's gone. And let's buy it. I even tried to buy it and buy two. And if Amazon would have let me, I would have bought two. Which is crazy. I wasn't willing to buy one full price. All of a sudden, 47% off. I want to buy two.
It's a good parts pack, though. Those boutique, those botanical sets.
Mm-hmm. Lots of the same repetitive sort of things. So I guess turning over to sort of Brett, obviously you do a lot of mocking and very much using a lot of your existing pieces, and it's a lot of vintage stuff. So what sort of determines how you acquire Lego, or what your sort of take on things? Oh, maybe he's not there. I saw a hand
You've
moving a
known
little
me
while
since I've
ago.
been on here, Matt. I'm not a Lego VIP. I don't use Bricklink. I go to charity shops. I go to boot fairs. I use eBay. I use Marketplace, the same as anybody else. I sometimes pay what I have to pay for sets. I prefer the vintage. I know they've got the new, is it Market Street they're bringing out in Castle? I don't want the new one. I want the vintage one because it fits in with the layout. The new one's cool, and I'd like that at a future point. But for now, I want the vintage because it fits in more. As you say, I've got a lot of panels, a lot of parts. I don't go out and I don't buy sets unless I find something that I like. I know one brick stud has probably seen the leak for the new Harry Potter sorting hat that's about to have the voice box in it that talks again. Well, obviously, I've got to buy that for the wife, haven't I? Because she's Harry Potter mad. So as soon as that comes out, that's got to go on my list. You know, there are sets that have come out. I got the Hocus Pocus house for Christmas, and that's actually in the layout. You can't see it, it's up the other end of the room. But I think that was probably the best set of last year for me personally. I absolutely love it. I paid full price for it. And again, I told the wife 6 months in advance, I said, I want the Hocus Pocus house. So I'm giving you plenty of chance to get it.
Yeah.
Christmas Day, I unwrapped it. Yeah, she did well. So I got the Hocus Pocus house. I built it Christmas Day, and I got the castle out Boxing Day. But for me, the prices, if I need to pay it, if I want it, I'll pay it. I don't care. But again, I don't find many bargains. Not in the UK. I don't find things cheap.
Yeah, I certainly noticed.
Maybe that's why I use Marketplace, eBay.
Yeah, I've noticed in the last year or two in particular, Facebook, like it used to be the sort of thing where you could get some, you know, reasonable sort of bargains or not things which are reasonably priced, but a lot of it these days just seems to be, you know, people go, oh, Lego's valuable, therefore, you know, they're priced at like over the odds sort of thing, like even above and beyond sort of some of the eBay sort of things.
Yeah, they're kind of going down instead of eBay now, right? Yeah. Instead of selling on a proper place, proper marketplace, they go into Facebook.
Yeah.
I say proper because Facebook started out as like, I've got this crap that I don't want in my loft. Yeah. Someone will want it. And now it's like an actual, like almost like eBay.
Brett, are you finding it more difficult with sort of going along to boot fairs and things like that with trying to get it? Like, it's not so much people know the value of it, but they're really trying it on.
As you say, Matt, when I first came out of my dark age, I could go and pick up 40 vintage road blades, a load of vintage space, and pay nothing for it. As everybody says on the American side, ever since the Lego movie, people have gone up. Suddenly, that's what everybody's using, and it must be worth a fortune, which, yeah, some of it is, you know. I know there's castle sets, Rivendell for one, £400. I'd like that one too, you know, but I also have children, and yeah, he gets through shoes quicker than like Wile E. Coyote, you know what I mean? So I can't between the two. But yeah, everybody seems to think that all Lego is worth a fortune, and it's not the case, as we know. The basic city stuff isn't worth the same as the Star Wars stuff. It's all just been hyped, really. You've got to hunt for that bargain nowadays. You know, you don't find them gems that you used to find 5 or 6 years ago. It's not like that anymore.
Could it be that we give it value to? Because you could argue that even Star Wars is not worth the Star Wars prizes unless you are into Star Wars. Then you like the minifigures, and then you want to have Darth Maul, and he wasn't released the last 5 years. you just collected started to collect last year, what to do? Either bet on that he will come back in a better form or pay high prices for it. But for someone who isn't into Star Wars, Star Wars prices would probably not be worth it.
I think with Star Wars, you got the fact, I think there's like 1,1600 unique minifigures now. So depending upon what it is, and you see it coming in waves. Like, for the longest time, you'd have, and this would be good, tech would be handy to have one, something like the Ghost and things like that, which was very niche in terms of it was only generally people watching that series really wanted that or got it or whatever. So of course, then naturally it shot up. And then because it gets to a point where, oh, that's so expensive, it must be valuable, I want it. And then you get the Ahsoka show comes along and it's sort of like, okay, well, up until they announce the next version of the Ghost and everything like that, and then the price kind of comes down a little bit. Oh, tech is there. So that's because I think
some sets are like that. Like what's the current Marvel set with the X-Men figures? This blue ship.
Oh, the X-Jet. Yeah.
85 euros and 4 figures. If you're not really, leave out the figures, sell only the set. Would really someone pay money with standard figures, not related to X-Men, standard city sets, 85 euros for it, or even 50 without the license?
No, surely not. Yeah.
Sorry, I've got Tech who's popped into the green room. Is there someone who just wants to pop out just for a little bit so I can rotate some?
Sure.
I can leave right now because I gotta go pick up my son, and then I'll come right back whenever there's space.
Okay, cool. All right then. No worries. I'll see you in a little bit, Chai.
Bye, Thomas.
And then, yeah, Shai did mention earlier before the stream that he would have to go for about an hour or so to go and get his.
Hi, Shy. Bye, Shy. Thanks for making space for me. Hey, everyone. How you doing?
Hey.
How's everybody?
Oh, good. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Good to see you on.
Thank you.
So I think you may have caught part of it where Nicole was asking the question about, the value in Star Wars. What's your sort of thoughts?
I mean, it's still consistently one of the, or if not the, in fact, I think I saw a graph not that long ago last year where it's like shocking how much Star Wars outsells a lot of the other themes, much to a lot of people's disgust, possibly even to my own. Like the proportions are kind of crazy. I think it's just purely down to longevity, right? Like it's such a long running theme, possibly the longest running theme, except for something like City, I guess.
Duplo is the longest running Lego theme.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. But yeah. So I guess there is still a lot of value in it, and for as long as Star Wars keep producing more content, they'll keep producing more Lego.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm spending big money on Star Wars sets and on Harry Potter because I'm into minifigures. But and the Marvel sets that I bought just for the minifigures. But I know that Headquarter Marvel Endgame set, I know that the pieces will straight go to the loose brick section. I paid 100 euros for 6 figures.
Yeah. I suppose that's the thing when you have a licensed property which has a built-in fan base, and you can go through and Tech, how many Star Wars minifigures are there now? Just roughly 1,600?
Like well over 1,000, I think.
Oh yeah, no, it was a couple of years ago. It was I think beginning of COVID, it was about 1,200. So I think now it's or something. Right. Anyhow, a lot. So. And just one of the Tech. What are we?
Yeah, there's 2 of them right there.
There's 2 of them. Yeah, and if it's got a light in it, then it becomes really expensive. And all sorts of. Well over 1,000 Jar Jars alone. That could be scary. So. And take one of the sort of questions being asking sort of people recently, been how has your sort of buying habits or collecting habits sort of changed, and what sort of drives what you sort of decide your purchases?
I think possibly in the last year, I think my biggest switch up has been going more towards parts than sets. Outside of Monkey Kid and the Ahsoka sets, I can't really think of a theme where I've been consistently picking up sets for. I'll buy even Star Wars to a degree now. I probably buy less than half of what they put out in terms of all the different sets. So it's definitely going more towards parts for mocks. And I think, like everyone's saying, it's kind of we've got a tighter budget now, so it comes down to that fundamentally. That space, is
newborn.
Yeah. She's taking up way too much space. She's getting far too many toys too quick. This isn't good. She's taking over. So yeah, I think they've been the biggest factors. Nothing crazy, not that I'm sure other people have covered, but yeah, I think it is just the way things are at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I just saw what Bossman's put up here, and I think that's because he knows what's associated with that. So thanks very much for the the chat there, and I think we'll see how much tech does love Mr. Bean.
Oh, Jesus! Oh, God! Oh, Jesus!
I am a big fan of Mr. Bean. I do love Mr. Bean.
I always love that little short. There's just those little simple joys, which doesn't matter what happens, you see that and it just brings a smile to your face. At least for me. So,
One of the ones that gets me is where he's brushing his teeth in the car and then he spits out into the builder's crap. No, it's so good, man. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, I think one of the funniest ones, which I saw as a kid and just couldn't stop laughing, is when he was on a plane and the kid had been sick next to him into one of those vomit bags.
Yeah.
And you see him, he's just sort of about to wind up and and the gag is more because they did the cut, it's what you didn't see and your mind fills in what happens. It's
yeah.
So,
that's too good.
That's a proper classic. I'd forgotten about that. That's an old childhood memory, that.
I even think the animation was pretty good as well. I know that come a bit later, but I thought the animation was fantastic.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah,
well.
it was on Nickelodeon, wasn't it, for a while?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix at the moment, hidden in the back. Because my kids a couple of years ago discovered that animated one, and they absolutely love it. And it's you know when you're old, when your kids are discovering remakes of
yeah
calling it retro,
something like that. Yeah, so cool. So I think we've just make sure so the rest of you guys are sort of covered with how they're sort of buying and things like last week. So the other thing which sort of relates a bit more to the poll is we were sort of joking in our chat a bit earlier, today is unsubscribe day, because you drop a new thing gets announced and every single person's post is the same photos. And I think a couple months ago, I literally counted on my Instagram feed, it was 21 stories in a row, all of the same pictures by different creators and things. So I just started, and it seems to be getting worse. And it's okay, I'm following some people now because this is it's just getting to me. But beyond that, the one which has been more interesting is we've obviously had the Bricklink designer program, which has been, I think the one which I did yesterday is the 4th time they've done that. And the previous 3 times, which we commented to, I think on the stream about a month ago, was basically I had never actually seen anyone, the registered fan media, had actually purchased themselves the set. So they purchased the set themselves and done a review or done something on it. Somebody corrected me and said they saw possibly Brixie had done it.
Yeah, Brixie does it.
But
yeah,
otherwise, there's like nobody. And then with this one, they obviously gave it out to all the LAN members.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they're doing reviews on it. And it's sort of like, to me, it's sort of a credibility and integrity sort of thing. Because sort of like, these are things you've clearly had no interest in, would never put money in, like your hand in your pocket to purchase. Why, you know, I'm still trying to formulate what this is. I mean, does anybody else have some thoughts on it?
I guess like for a lot of the content creators that are like that have cities or have I guess cities is one. I guess just general Lego collect. Like if they're a channel that's known for reviewing as not necessarily specific sets, these are a bit more niche, so I can get it in terms of like a content perspective. If they're being offered something that's a bit more limited, it's like very easy to say yes.
I wouldn't say no. Like yeah,
it's really it's a lot harder to say no than it is to say yes for something like these, when something like a review is so easily justifiable for them. Does it get onto the question of it being disingenuous or like quite what your audience would want to see? Possibly not. I do think there's probably worse examples where like Star Wars channels have been given the whole Harry Potter wave or vice versa, like, and things like that. Like that seems even more, I don't want to say disingenuous, but it's just like the creator might not be serving the best interests of the subscriber base that they've built up because of it.
Yeah.
I think Bricklink design program have probably got enough of a niche or a quirk about them to kind of pull a bit more of an audience. But I do see what you're saying, Matt. I do think it's a valid
I think for me it's just annoying because it was kind of like Bricklink design was kind of like a nice little secret almost.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it sold out really quickly anyway, but it was niche, like you say, and now it's been like dragged into the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
I say dragged as if it was done unwillingly, but yeah. But it's kind of, for me, it's emblematic of the other changes that are going on in Bricklink and Lego's influence on the company and how it's not independent anymore.
Yeah,
I think that's for me the main thing.
And does it lose now the ability to be not a crowdfund anymore? Because in the past I struggled a lot with the late night TV vibe of buy now, only 10,000 left, and if you do not buy in 30 minutes, it's gone, never to be seen again. And now it's everywhere. It's in Australia already, sets bid. People get it already. The set exists. It's already in existence. Why is there a limitation? On no other Lego set there is a limitation to it. Why?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Is this
Just
a
feeling
transition?
the investors like big time. I think the castle is already up for £1,000 on eBay.
Wow.
Like,
See,
really?
I was really like uninterested by it. I looked at this way, and I haven't gone into much detail of like really that nothing's really jumped out at me, but I feel like we've had very similar things in past waves. Like we've had a castle before, there's the train shed, and then we've had a train station. I don't know, there's just nothing that really jumped out at me, so I completely skipped this for investment or not, because I didn't think that they would be all that. But I think the last ones took, was it the last one or the one before, maybe, when they jumped up to 10,000 the second time, like after the kind of situation the first one, they took a lot longer to sell out. So I thought that there was like maybe a dwindling.
Well, it depended on the set. So the Castle in the Forest, which was the one that accidentally they allowed up to 10k because so many orders went through, that sold out in under half an hour.
Yeah, no, I was on about the round after that where they made 10,000 the base.
I think that was the last one.
So that
Was that
was
the last one?
Construction
so that
site.
was still the same. So the third wave of the Invitational, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they've gradually been increasing. Because as Ian said, the first one, the site had crashed so badly that it allowed. They were only meant to do 5,000, but it allowed 10,000, so they just honored it. And then the next time they increased it, and then this time they've increased it up to 30,000. And yeah, sorry.
So before you could only get one copy, whereas now you can get 2 copies. So
You can get
30,000 is still not as many as you think if everyone got 2.
Yeah.
So.
So I mean, this time we had
They've not for investors.
the castle sold out in under 3 hours.
Just
The
over.
shacks, no, it was under 3 hours. The shack sold out in under 12 hours. The train shed is extremely close to selling out now. So what I don't understand is why the sets were sent to LAN members to review. Because clearly there's enough demand out there that they were going to hit 30k on all of these sets.
Yeah.
They go do so much market research, they would have known that. So why give out sets to review when they're not going to get any more sales out of it? Because they've artificially capped themselves.
Because it makes them more desirable. It makes people act quicker.
Yeah.
It's smart.
Demand, right? Yeah.
And my cynical view too is also too, like, as why RFLM gets sets anyhow, is that they're able to get out in front and put all the positive spin on it. So then when you go, okay, well, these are mock quality, the instructions are missing, there's errors, there's this, there's that, there's whatever. That's going to be 6 months down the track, maybe, as opposed to, you've already had this stuff already there. So I think there's an element of that, which
And saying that they lost a sale for me though, because I watched someone who got it early from LAN, because I was originally going to get the castle in the Parisian street, but because they kind of like did a review on the castle, and they pointed out the fact that it was like the exact same as the Lion Knight's castle, except it was like a winter version. There was like not as much interior details to it, etc. Like their review was more negative, and I was like, I don't actually want this now, like so much. I'd rather get the Lion Knight's castle now. So then I didn't get it. So like obviously it's still sold out, but like I don't know. I wonder if the second the market is trying to sell it for like £1,000 on eBay now is actually going to be able to shift them, because there'll be so many people that
would be
interesting.
interesting.
For that reason. Yeah. What you can ask and what you get are sometimes two different things, but but yeah, there's that. I've still got John just sitting in the back there. Would somebody mind just dropping out for a little bit, just rotating through?
I don't mind.
I don't.
All of a sudden, everyone is gone.
Yeah,
all getting fired up about Bricklink.
I don't purchase off Bricklink, Bricklink Designer. So if somebody wants to join in, that's fine.
Okay, then. Well, thanks for that, Martin. And yeah, we'll bring you back in a little bit. I'll just have you sort of sitting in the backstage sort of area, and then bring John in, who's there and was in one of our earlier sort of live streams and that. And he made an interesting point, which I'd forgotten about, in terms of the first wave. John, if you want to sort of pick that up.
Yeah, I just pointed out that first wave set where there were only 5,000 copies. You could actually buy 5 copies of each set. So that one absolutely was like scalper's paradise. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm kind of I don't get as annoyed by scalpers as most people do. I think it kind of allows people that have got the money that want to spend £1,000 on eBay a way of buying that set. And I think probably that's quite useful kind of market research for Lego, because they can see the prices that people are paying for these things. And I expect that's probably partly what drives their sales numbers. That's why they've gone up to 30,000 this time. I think by sending out copies of the sets to the YouTubers out there and the reviewers generally, I wouldn't be surprised if, we've seen 30,000 go this time. If there's a bit more conversation on it, maybe some people will avoid it, the ones that kind of didn't buy it, having seen the negative review. So they're maybe not going to get as many negative feelings from people buying it and thinking, why did I buy this rubbish? And so, yeah, I'll be interested to see if next time it goes up to 50,000 or something like that. Because
I was going to say the same. Yeah. Are they building up the attention for it now for the next rounds?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And they've changed it down to 2 copies of the sets this time. I mean, that first time when you could buy 5 copies, I actually bought 2 copies of the Castle in the Forest because I knew that one of my friends was looking to buy it, and I knew that he hadn't been paying attention and missed it. So it was like, right, okay, don't worry, Ben, I've got you covered. I bought it for you. So that was good, but it did feel quite painful to sell it back to him at cost price when I could have flipped it on eBay for twice the price already.
Well, you know what your friendship's worth now.
Instant profit. Yeah, that's that went to one of the lug members.
They must be quite confident in this round, the fact that they did send out those copies, though, because what would have happened if they hadn't been funded and they sent out a copy of a set that no one else could then buy? Like that was the bit that was weird for me.
Yeah, so it kind of doesn't matter because this is a crowdfunding thing. So that's the reason there's such a time lag on it, because I don't think they've produced 30,000 copies. They've just freed up the capacity to potentially make 30,000 copies between now and July.
It's possible that for some they don't sell any because they had to hit 3,000 orders.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the thing doesn't go into production.
So then you'd have those pre-production copies, which would be massively worth.
They would be worth an absolute
and
fortune.
They've essentially just sent those out for free, so that just seems.
Do you like, because of how much of a foot that Lego have in this whole process now, the fact that they upped the numbers so much, and the fact that they've produced. There's no way in my head that I can see a company as large as Lego rationalizing doing a production run of 100 of each of the sets to then give out to content creators and stuff. And the whole crowdfunding thing I just find is why is a multi-billion-dollar company doing a crowdfunded thing? That just does not make sense to me.
So I think in this kind of sense, it sort of does make sense in that this is a smaller thing and they don't need to actually pay the whole kind of processing of it. They've not got all the people involved doing all the normal marketing. They're not having to send them out and deal with distribution to all the stores. They're not having to produce instructions for it in the same way they would do for all of the other sets. So it is something that they've got a lower overhead in terms of just pure numbers kind of getting out there. Exactly. And they've also got a higher profit margin per set in terms of price per part is obviously a lot higher on these sets. So I think that there is that exclusivity kind of model. You see it with loads of other toys and things. There's Star Wars lightsabers and stuff that Disney produced through various things where you pay 500 quid to pre-order a lightsaber, and some of those didn't sell. Rey's lightsaber, I think, was one of them, or Ahsoka's lightsaber. One of those ones just didn't reach the minimum that was needed to kind of make that price. So it does allow them to just do it without a lot of risk. You've got the time investment from the original builder. They're doing a lot of the advertising for you. You know that it doesn't cost an awful lot to send out stuff to YouTubers. We've got to that point now where 30,000 sets actually justifies the cost of producing some early to go out to the YouTubers. And in terms of your question around, do you see a company the size of Lego kind of making 100 copies of a set to send out? They do actually have a team of people who make smaller production runs of sets for things like staff events. So they do have the ability to actually run off 400 copies of something or 300 copies of something. Do you remember the Space Slug set, the Star Wars Space Slug set?
Was that one of the
so it was a little set. It was about 100 pieces. It was a set that was only about this big. It was only about 100-piece set, and it was a properly produced Lego set, but it didn't have any kind of set number on it because it wasn't produced by the normal team. It was just produced by one of their back office teams, and I think they only made something like 300 copies of it, and that went out through some scheme. So again, if you got one of those, that was quite a nice little thing to get because it wasn't vast numbers. So yeah, I think the ability for them to produce kind of lower numbers of sets is doable.
Yeah, they did it with the MRI scanner as well, didn't they? They went out.
I think there were 600 of those, weren't there?
Yeah.
But somebody else just said in the chat earlier that aren't they made from just standard bricks? So for them to be able to pull just standard bricks and put some sets together anyway, it's not going to be too much hassle for them.
Yeah, so that they are all made from in production parts. There's no sort of extra special parts. I think the very first time they did it, there was like one part. There was like one exclusive print or something per set, but that was before this latest run. That was the original Bricklink before the Bricklink designer program. There was like one exclusive brick, I think, in each set, but since then it's just been in production parts, and they're the kind of parts that they can just wait till they're doing a production run of it and just run that production run for another 5 minutes just to produce the 200,000 parts they need for, to make the extra, couple of 100,000 1x4 bricks in grey or, whatever they need. So yeah, capacity wise, it's not as much of a hassle for them to do it, for sure.
Yeah, and I think, there's Simon's made a comment, which wasn't just buildings. I think looking at it from the other direction, though, and this is where I think of the problem more upstream in terms of the Lego ideas, when you've got 40, 50, 70 submissions and one or two are getting through. At least with some of them, we can get them in some format. Okay, it comes downstream in here in terms of Bricklink designer, and they're going to be, a lot of the buildings are probably things which, when they go through the ideas phase of it, most times if Lego were going to do it, they'd do it under one of their modular lines or something or other. So generally, you're probably not going to get it with that. So it's still good to be able to get it. And I know it's always a little bit loose, but you get, your parts per piece ratio on some of these. Yes, they are expensive, but I think the castle, £300, it's what, 4,000 pieces. So you're still under that 10 pence per whatever. So it's still reasonable.
Yeah, that castle was a pretty good one actually for that.
Yeah.
Ratio. But yeah, historically they've not been as good, and I actually wonder whether that is maybe even part of the strategy, because a conversation topic that was going on while I was sat in the back room, kind of listening in, was storage and kind of what people buy, what sets people have bought, and what's kind of driven people's changing habits in sets. And I think the general common theme amongst AFOLs is a lot of people kind of go mad, spend too much, realize that it's taking up too much space, have to then scale back or get more storage, and eventually it doesn't matter how much more storage you get, you're going to keep on having to scale back. So I do wonder whether there is kind of a thought of, hang on a minute, if we can sell you a $400 set that's actually going to take up less space than a $400 retail set would have been, you'll now have more space to put another one later. So I do wonder whether some of that comes into that conversation.
Yeah, I think there was a comment which I was trying to remember who made it. It was the last week or the week before, in terms of sometimes, like when you get one of these big sets, they're easy to display, as opposed to you might, a big set, £400, as opposed to maybe 10 little sets at £20 each or whatever, which kind of all over the place, and they're hard to display. Because I'm still looking more at that. When somebody said that, it's like, yeah, it's going for the bigger sets and things apart from detail and that. So
it's a factor for me for sure. It's simple, isn't it? It's like, there's a big set that's just hanging on a wall that's taking up space, and randomly a Duplo crocodile. I'm still planning at some point to create a little motorized mechanism to have this glove puppet kind of open its mouth, and it's the long-term plan, but for now it's
yeah, I need to go back, and you may, I don't know if you saw the you may have been doing your groceries or whatever, but I did a little highlights video sort of thing, and one of yours, and I watched most of that stream back, but I remember there's a whole bunch of things on your long-term plan. I need to check to see if that was one of them on it, because I have a funny feeling it was.
I don't know. It might have been. It might have been. I've got too many things on my long-term plan, most of which will probably never happen. I'm always very happy when I see that someone online has actually built an item from my long-term plan, because then it's like, right, someone's done it. I don't need to do that anymore. That's quite good. I'm currently sitting here trying to measure out kind of just trying to get my head around the plans for a geodesic dome. So basically this, but I need to cut the flex hose, which is always a painful decision, but like Lego actually includes cutting of the flex hoses in their instructions, so it's kind of allowed, but I need to cut very precise cuts into like 300 flex hoses to make a giant like 96 stud diameter dome. So yeah, I've not quite got round to doing it because I'm terrified that I'm going to get the fundamental cut wrong and I've just wasted 100 quid's worth of flex hoses. But yeah, that's one of my long-term plans. But it's storage to me, I think is a big factor. In terms of the way that people buy, I was having a conversation around this with a fairly new member who's been in the hobby not even since lockdown, but in the last sort of year and a half probably. And in the last year and a half has almost filled up a house full of Lego. And it's like, right, you know, you're 30. Do you think you're going to like Lego for the next 50 years? You know, are you going to still be doing this because you've bought this much in a year and a half? How many houses will you have filled up by the time you retire? You might as well slow down now because you're going to have to slow down later. So yeah, it's a factor.
I think one of the questions which I've asked most people this week or last week, and I'll ask it of you, John, how has your sort of habits and buying of Lego changed, and how do you sort of focus on things now?
Yeah, so for me, it is that storage thing. So there was a point when, and partly it's also the fact that I'm very much aware that I have a backlog which is just getting larger rather than smaller. I've got a backlog of the last 9 modular buildings because I used to actually build them all and have them kind of displayed along the top of the bookshelf here. And I've had to kind of rearrange the room a bit, and I haven't got space for all of the ones that I had out before. So I haven't got round to building the latest ones. I end up building them in things like speed building competitions. So I've seen or been partly involved with the building of all of them, but I've never actually built my own since then. I've also kind of gone off of Star Wars a bit. I used to love Star Wars, Disney Star Wars. They've kind of pumped out so much generic rubbish along with the occasional great ones. There was so much kind of extra stuff that was just kind of chucked out that kind of just put me off a bit. So I'm kind of glad in that I sort of fell out of love with Star Wars a bit, because Star Wars is what hooked me back in. So like the first year Disney got that, the first year Lego got that Star Wars license, I bought every single Lego Star Wars set for about a year and kind of realized how much I'd spent and thought, right, okay, I can't just buy every single set because I won't have space for it. And yeah, that has kind of become a factor. Lockdown did end up with me buying a bunch of stuff from Bricklink. I probably spent more money on Bricklink in the lockdown year because I was kind of mocking more stuff than actually building sets. And I go through phases of that as well. So, but yeah, there was a time when I would think, right, okay, on my long-term plan, I intend to build X. So I would end up I bought 3 copies of Destiny's Bounty, the ship, the kind of Chinese piratey ship version, not the Ninjago Destiny Bounty or the other ones, but because I thought, right, at some point I'm going to have a city where I'll have that and I'll make a larger version. And I've kind of come to the realization that that will probably never happen. So I think I am going to have to fish out the other 2 copies of that and then probably sell them to somebody in the lug because I can't be bothered with eBay. It's too much like hard work. So there's things like that will probably have to happen. My danger as well is I'm very prone to just grabbing sets when there's gift with purchases, so I'll buy things to kind of get to that gift with purchase level. Part of it I'm sort of lucky because I live right near a Lego store. Oh, sorry, what's that message? I live right near a Lego store, so I have a tinfoil hat. Fair enough. Yeah, so I'm able to get parts for people. So quite often I will put out a call to say, hey, I'm heading to the local Lego store. Does anyone want any pick-a-brick bits? So it quite often means that I can get halfway to the gift with purchase level without actually having to spend anything myself, and I end up then topping it up. So I buy things for people at cost, and then I keep the VIP points and I keep whatever gift with purchase is there. So that's great, but it does mean that occasionally I'll end up with like 8 copies of the gift with purchase set. and I kind of just stick them in storage because I think maybe I'll do something with that at some point, and I never do. So yeah, I've started kind of going through, and I think what I'm going to have to do is get out all of the multiple copies of the gift with purchases and just start selling those, and then maybe that will make more space for something that I actually want more, because you know, it's the sort of thing where I could just open the boxes and just part them out and stick them in the collection, but if I'm going to do that, I'd be better off just selling that set and buying the parts that I wanted with the money, because I'd get more of the parts I wanted and less of the, you know, odd bright orange round pieces that I'm never going to use, you know, or whatever, you know, whatever it happens to be. So yeah, I probably need to be a bit kind of stricter with that. But yeah, lockdown did also get me to the point where I've almost finished sorting all of the mixed Lego that I've accumulated over the first few years in the hobby. Lego, I don't know whether anyone used to go to any of the international fan events, but Lego used to do a thing called the Play Brick box, where you got to buy a box that was 12 to 14 kilos, so up to almost sort of 30 pounds of Lego for our US folks, for anything from $70 or $80 up to about $150. That kind of price range. They kind of varied quite a bit each time, so you could get quite a bit, and you might get, I think the best box I ever got, I got 1.5 copies of the Shield Helicarrier, the original big Shield Helicarrier UCS set, just in one of those boxes for like $100.
Was that along with other stuff as well, or was it just those?
Yeah, no, that was with other stuff as well. So it was like 1.5 copies of that. I think there was a copy of the Wally set in there. There was a train motor in there. There was like 25 different little red light up bricks in one of those boxes. And it's really random what you get in there. So occasionally you'd open one and get absolute rubbish, and you'd think, oh dear, never mind. It's still interesting parts, but they've stopped doing that now, which is kind of good, because it has meant that there's a finite amount of like random unsorted Lego. Because I think over the years I ended up buying quite a few of those boxes, because every time I went to an event I would buy one, and occasionally you'd get to buy two, which would then get carted home. And so I've kind of finally got to the point where I've almost finished sorting that, and then once I've finished sorting those into the collection, my collection of storage drawers has kind of expanded over the years as well. So I've reached again the level where I've got no more space for new sets. Realistically, I've got tiny bits I can kind of shove things in, and I've got no more space for more storage drawers, because my storage is sorted by part and by color separately. So each item has its own little slot in the storage drawer, and they're all in alphabetical order by the categories on Bricklink. So it's taken quite a while to kind of get to there. So I could at some point open a Bricklink store, and I'm kind of like, half the job is done. But yeah, it got to the point where it was sort of silly. So yeah, realistically, that's kind of what drives what I buy, because yeah, absolutely, those boxes would have been dangerous. They were dangerous for a long time, but it was amazing as well, because like the kind of stuff you'd get in them, you might end up with just 50 copies of some really weird part, but the amount of mocks that you would see at international fan events, where you'd be like, I know where you got all those 700 little gold 2x2 tiles, for example. It's like, yeah, I know where they came from, because I got a bunch of those in a box as well. And I've got occasionally in them, you'd get a bag which was just like mini doll parts or minifigure parts. So you'd get a bag like this, just solid Star Wars figures. So it's all the same torso. So I've got like 200 copies of one Star Wars torso without the heads. And there's where they come from? I've got like 50 Greedo heads or something just from another one. Well, so what it would be when Lego had a production run that was damaged, or box was damaged or something, all of the odd bits, sometime they will literally chuck all the stuff in a shredder, and all of the Lego just gets shredded and turned into brown bricks. And then what they used to do was they would chuck all of those bits into these boxes. So it might be that something like the Shield Helicarrier, for example, it might be that a whole bunch of boxes was damaged, so the contents would just get chucked in those things. Or it might be that one bag out of 14 bags was missing because of some error in the production. So the other 13 bags, well, they can't sell them as a set, so they would just get chucked in those boxes. But there are some crazy stories. There are some crazy stories that I know of from the factories from people that I know that kind of live near there. And that's the kind of thing that happens. But yeah, there was one story I'm aware of from two AFOLs that I know that are both AFOLs independently and then got together. So between the two of them, their house they were AFOLs before they met, and now they're married, and so it's like two crazy.
That is a dangerous combination.
They got a phone call. One of them got a phone call at one point because I think one of them was working for.
I think your sound just went, John. Your sound's gone.
Gonna finish the whole story. It's gonna come back in. And,
and that's how it happened.
Yeah. And the rest was history.
Apparently, John, your mic's not connected. So I don't know whether you've just pulled back on it or something. Just no sound.
He keeps going, doesn't he?
No, it's still no.
It says the mute's on.
It says you're on mute.
Yeah, because if I try to
No, I'm not sure whether you can hear me.
Yeah,
there we are.
Back.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Or have you gone again? No, you're gone again.
Yeah.
If you're using wireless, something seems like it's not charging, or it's at the very end of it. So we'll may just come back. Oh, you got plugged in hard. Well, I'm just glad that for once, and it's not Schickman-Freuder or whatever it is, Leigh MacBrick would correct me on that, where it's not me having technical difficulties for a change. You know,
Don't jinx it, Matt. Don't jinx it.
Yeah, right.
And he disappears.
In the meantime, I'm just seeing KO here. Bunny Bricks is a panda.
Oh, because of the hood.
Yeah, that with the white on the inside and that. And I've seen the PSA earlier from Blondie that the old shed had now sold out. I mean, the nice thing with them doing now a run of 30,000 is, I mean, the castle sold out within 3 hours, but the rest of them, like, if you didn't get in the first 5 minutes, like even up until a little while ago, you'd still be able to get them. Like the other three are still available. So as opposed to, I think, the first round that they did, the castle sold out in 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, because I know there were people around like sort of Australia and New Zealand didn't get even a look in unless they got up at 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah, there's always going to be one time zone that just doesn't fit with. But I suppose it took like 5-10 minutes maybe for things, because like I was on the web page like 10 minutes before I'd set an alarm. I was napping and I got up and I was like, I'm going to be ready. Had it on my phone, had it on a tab, had it on incognito tab as well, just because I thought maybe, I don't know how cookies work. Who knows? So I tried that as well. And I was just like, straight away, it was just like server error. And that's when I like manically messaged you guys, and you were like, "Oh crap, I forgot about that. I forgot that was today."
I'd even put the reminder in the calendar and everything, and then you reminded it, and then by the time I finished the school run, I could get back to the computer.
Yeah, you were fine.
I can still buy stuff, right?
Yeah, you never answered the question like transparently though about how many you bought.
Oh yeah.
You said you got everything, but you didn't say how many of everything.
I was seeing there that Monarch wanted to hear the rest of John's story.
It just made me laugh because at the start of the stream you were saying about obviously gonna have to be like tearing down the house and moving, and you don't want to have all these sets to move, and you have to sell stuff, and I'm sitting here like, did you not just like potentially admit you just bought like
Matt's the one who's got
potentially
it up on eBay for £1,000. That's one, isn't he?
That's
the
way too
culprit.
cheap. I would have gone at least 50.
That house renovation's not going to pay itself, is it, Matt?
Well, that's the sort of thing, like, because last weekend we managed to sell the kids' Bricklink store. Like, part of it was we need to get like the space, but also is part of it. So between that and a few bits of eBay and things like that, it's all sort of like, you know, going back into the house fund as such. But to Bonnie's point, because it happened, I think to me, it was 2007. The company, it wasn't downsizing, it was right sizing. So we're not getting rid of people, we're just making sure everyone's in the right roles. So I sort of think my Lego collection now is being right sized, so getting, you know, reshuffling, getting back to where it needs to be. And I can just hear this disappointment in Monarch's voice now that John has disappeared. It's like, yeah, John's story, season 2.
But I suppose it's
Can I
because like
just
the
check
collection
that?
party like changes as well though, because we got the bowling alley, but like that because originally we wanted to build that was for us to build, but now it's not going to fit in with like the city idea that I have, so we're not as fussed about it. So now we're trying to sell it, but like we're not like bothered about selling it for a profit. We just want to like sell it for what we paid it for, basically. But
Don't
so
say
I guess
that.
that's like
someone will offer it for you and then they'll stick it on eBay.
No, it's not budging though. Like we've had it on Marketplace and stuff, and it's just not budging. But I think it's just because obviously the new Bricklink stuff has just come out, and then everyone's seeing all these Star Wars sets coming out. Like March is going to be like everyone's pockets are going to be sunk, so I'm not too surprised. But it's just going to sit there because I'm not going to let it go for like nothing. I don't want to make a loss, but like it's just going to sit there until. But that's just because like our ideas have changed. So
Before we go into March,
sorry, I was just wanted to add. The about stuff not selling is that. Have you noticed also on Lego that all their retiring stuff is not selling? Like it's still up for ages.
Yeah,
it's. I think there is that obviously in the world there's a bit of a money flow problem right now, and everyone's on like, you know, cost of living crisis. And I actually think that now we're seeing the effects of that in this luxury product called Lego, where people just aren't spending that money, even on sale sets. You know.
Agreed.
Can I just quickly circle back to what Matt said? Have you basically made your kids pay rent there? You sold their Bricklink store to pay for your house.
I hadn't thought of it that way. But
This is a life lesson, kids.
They'll have access to it one day anyway, won't they? Mate? It's good teaching them about investing.
Well, yeah. We kind of got to get ahead of it because we would imagine that at some stage we're just going to get stuffed in a home and they'll go, yeah, oh, thanks, Mum and Dad, for the house. Yeah, it's again, it's that sort of changing thing with the kids are starting to go into the dark age, and I think we sort of said before in terms of, you know, before you get like most of the Star Wars wave and things like that, because they would just play with it to death and everything like that. But now it's sort of get it, and it kind of can sit there, and it's sort of like, well, you know, why as such. And then to something which John was sort of hinting at a bit earlier is, you know, you might have all these GWPs and can break it down with parts, but half the time if you do a mock or something like that anyhow, you want a certain flavor of parts or the specific ones you need. I thought the chat that you had with Monarch yesterday was interesting because he's completely opposite in terms of, right, I'm just going to do this with the parts that I have. And that's
that was really interesting.
Struggling with it, because when I sort of like doing mocks and things like that, I'll build some of it manually, but the projects which I have a tendency to do are big, so it's sort of like, okay, do it manually to a point, put it in Bricklink Designer, and then go out and get all the bits that you need. Whereas, you know, if you get a set which, okay, it might have some of the bits, but then you've got like 40, 50 other elements which you probably might never use or something. So and then storage and all the rest of that sort of stuff.
I do like that artificial challenge of building just to the parts you've got.
Yeah.
I did that. The biggest example where I did that was the Parisian restaurant. That was the first of the modulars where I kind of was a little bit disappointed because it didn't have like the solid skyline of all of the other modulars, because there was like a cutout to the side of it. It was the first one that wasn't like a solid part of the city. So I sort of thought I can do better if I get 2 of these, and I managed to get 2 of them sort of just about half price with deals. So I ended up taking 2 copies of the set, and I thought, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to build a larger version of it using no other parts. I'm going to force myself to just use the parts from 2 copies of the set. And I think I started on the Friday evening. I sort of finished work at 5 o'clock on a Friday, grabbed some dinner, started work after that, and finished about 2 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday, and then started again the Saturday morning. And I realized it was sort of Sunday evening, and I think I watched my way through all of the Harry Potter films and halfway through the Lethal Weapon films over the course of a weekend. And I came out of it having literally built a kind of like double-sized version of the Parisian restaurant. And I had, and Matt, to your point, you say like you need parts that all kind of a similar kind of design. I ended up with a load of white bits that kind of weren't there, and I ended up building a little moon rover just out of the odd bits that were left because there was a bunch of white pieces. But other than that, I actually used most of the parts. But there's a little umbrella, there's like a parasol thing on the roof, and it took me 2.5 hours to build this little parasol for the roof because I knew that the parts were in there somewhere, but I'd already used them elsewhere. So it was like arched pieces, like curved bits. So I had to then dismantle earlier bits, and so it's quite a nice challenge to kind of do something like that. But yeah, generally it's more frustrating than it's worth. So that's when I hit Bricklink up for kind of the extra bits.
I'm trying to do it at the moment. I'm trying not to use more than, or trying not to buy off Bricklink basically for as long as I can, because I always just buy parts and then it's like, oh, I don't need 60% of these.
It's terrible, isn't it? I know we were having this conversation in the lug around. Somebody said that they got really frustrated when they'd got bits in a Bricklink basket and they sell out before you complete your purchase. And I sort of pointed out that I've got baskets with about 50 Bricklink stores with bits in where I've not completed the purchase because I've only got like 2 items from that store, and the shipping is going to cost $30 or something, and I only want like $20 worth of parts. So it's like I'll leave them in there, and eventually maybe I'll buy something from that store that will kind of make it worthwhile. And with a bit of luck, they'll sell those parts, and I'll have forgotten what I even wanted them for by the time I come to buy them, and then it will stay missing on it. Because the amount of times where I've bought stuff and it's like, why did I buy 200 of that?
It's weird when you go to a shop and like 2 months later, you're like, you realise that you'd started a cart with them 2 months and you're like, oh, I obviously didn't need these bits. And they're all sold out and you have to clear it all out first.
And what's really annoying is quite often what I'll find is I end up finding bits from that previous order, but the one part that was the main reason for buying from that is the one bit they've actually sold out. It's that one bit in that really rare colour that only they had 3 of in the whole planet or something. It's like, oh, that's the one bit I would have kind of pulled the trigger on for. And apologies for I think my batteries on my headphones died on me, so I sort of dropped off halfway through a story. I'm not sure where I lost you, but
I think you're up to
Matt, I have an idea to make money. Wouldn't it be amazing if everyone in our community would register their bricks and pieces? I'm wondering if I have, by chance, one of these rare pieces without knowing it. If John now would reach out to me and tell me, you have those pieces, I don't care about it, and I would send it to him. It can't be that expensive to put it in an envelope.
It's a lovely idea, and I've kind of thought the same thing myself. And I've tried to organise things with our lug, because we've got a couple of hundred members who are, 100 or so are active on the online forum, so it's kind of there. But the problem is, if I came to you and said, look, I really just need one piece for a show because it's the key piece that I need, it's the bit that's going to hold the whole thing together, I know that there's a bunch of people that would give up their time to go to their collection and find that bit for me. And that's
Yeah.
lovely. And we all do that for each other, and that's great. If I said to you, there's 57 pieces that I could really do with, it's a real hassle to go and get them, and that's kind of why I think Bricklink is fine as a solution. And I think for like the real like urgent, you know, quite often one of our members will do it. Kaz, that a lot of people probably have met. She builds like monochrome minifigure habitats, and she'll be like, right, I just need, she'll be like, I need one of these in dark orange but not medium nougat, you know. It'll be like, I just need this one bit. And so quite often we'll find little bits for her on something like that, but it's like a few bits at a time rather than I need a bunch of X. And I think that's kind of the problem, because the people that are organized enough to be able to go to their collection and pull out 57 pieces, they're the ones that have probably already got a Bricklink store anyway. So actually, I love the idea. I think it's probably more optimistic than realistic.
Yeah, I feel you're right.
Because I've found myself going to my collection for people, and it's like, I've just spent 20 minutes pulling out bits. They could have just gone on Bricklink and paid someone else to do it, who probably had those parts anyway. And
are geared up for that time because they're doing it across multiple different orders in a batch or something. So it's because certainly having been on the other side now with doing the kids and with the Bricklink store and everything like that, you appreciate the time which actually goes into it and things like that. And it's sort of like, you know, if I get an order or make as a purchaser of something on Bricklink and it comes up a few pieces short, or they don't have this or they don't have that, it's sort of like, well, I understand why that happens and I don't get worried about it. It's like, we'll just refund back whatever the part was. You know, don't spend £2 in postage to send me a 5p piece. Like it's not worth it. So and cool. I just sort of seen there in the chat that Bonnie's gonna have to dip out in a little bit.
Long day tomorrow, so need to get up at a reasonable time, unfortunately. But I just thought I would mention in case anyone's waiting to come in. But it's been so lovely to be part of the stream. I'm very sad it's coming to an end, a temporary end, I hope. But it's been lovely.
No, it's been great to have you in. We've always enjoyed catching up with you, and I still remember the first couple of times you came on. I think the first time you and Tech first joined the stream, and you started off on the Disney stuff. So
went a little bit mad. Yeah, sounds about right.
So I think for the first couple, you just like you're on one week, and then he wasn't, then you're on the next, or he wasn't. So anyhow,
tag teaming it. Yeah, someone's got to keep
have
that
someone
front.
representing Disney at all times, Matt. It's mandatory.
And then Kerry would be backup if everyone else fails.
It's been great to have you on with that. And do you have anything sort of coming up on your socials or anything you want to give a quick plug to?
I'm working on something at the moment. I'm hoping to have it out at the weekend, but it is a slow process because I've got a lot to do this weekend. That's not Lego, unfortunately. So just keep an eye on the channel. It's getting jazzed up a little bit because I'm taking some tips from some like a course that I've looked into, which has got me all pumped and like, come on YouTube, we got this. So keep an eye on that. But otherwise, I'm just winging it with the Lego and not any further with the Lego room, unfortunately. No updates there. But just follow me and you'll know when things are changing. But
What's happening with that?
Yeah, that's it from me for now.
Brilliant, excellent. Yeah, it's been great to have you on, and hope that obviously with your little things coming up, we've been trying to poke and prod and find out what exactly is going on. That sounded terrible.
Wait, what things? I've told you so much, like in these private chats.
Did we? We didn't get a chance to do the Bee and Bonnie's bonnet. Did you want to do that, or you got out of here?
It's fine. It's all good. It's all good. No, we'll look out for this video that may or may not happen, and then it'll all be in there. But no surprise, it's to do with something Disney related. So That'll be the best clue for anyone that's interested. But yeah, no, thanks again for having me on, Matt, and all the best to you with everything you've got going on and coming up, because I know you've got a lot coming up in your personal life to deal with and stuff like that, which we all totally resonate with. But as I said, Thursday crew till the end, so I don't expect to lose contact with people despite not having the stream on every Thursday. Yeah, because I'm going to need you all to rant to when I've got a baby and I've got Lego and I've got a toddler and I'm like, what's going on? So yeah, but until then, I'll speak to y'all. Like my DMs are always open to everyone in this whole room. So yeah, thanks again, Matt, for bringing us all together.
Oh, no worries. It's been great to have you, and yeah, definitely was got the chat and that, and we'll keep going with that undoubtedly. So.
Yeah, unless you want to close it, but like, you know,
no.
It's like my most active chat on my phone. So if it went, I'd be like, what do I do?
The ironic thing with that chat thing is that was born out of my laziness. I got sick of having to post the stream link to everyone, so it's like I'll just create a group and I can post it in there once and it's done.
And now you're like, I cannot mute these guys enough. Oh dear.
No, it's one of those things that you do, you know, necessity being the mother of inventions. It's something which sort of happened, and it's like, actually, no, this works really well as a chat because we can sound off and be idiots without exposing all that publicly.
Yeah. Or you can raise it as a topic of discussion for a stream, and then it does get brought up. But you know, but it's like FabBlondie said, like things that you don't plan are always like the best. So that usually applies to most things. I would definitely say it applies to nights out, from my experience, from memory back in the day. But yeah, so. But yeah, right, I'll nip off, otherwise I'll just keep chatting on and I'll never go to bed. But have a great evening, guys, and all the best for the rest of the stream. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Ian is there. Just an arm coming from the side.
Yeah, I'm here.
Doing your impression of thing.
He got inspired whilst we were sorting, so now he's just building off to the side.
I've got a mock for Bricktastic that I need to sort out, so you know.
Tell me about it.
I thought Sam was on that. Have you not? You're not working him hard enough.
He's claiming that he's ill or something. Like it's like there's no time, Sam.
Absolute cheek of it.
You need to be ill.
Thomas, did he have a doctor's notice?
No doctor. I'm not standing for it. It's not good enough. He's good enough. He's fine to go to his actual job today. So he should be good enough to be knocking out this pod race.
He probably needs to go to his actual job to pay for all the Bricklink orders. So.
He does. Yeah.
That he's making on your behalf.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, Tech is brilliant. He manages to make content out of not building stuff.
It's so good, Matt.
Do that again. I need some tips on that, Tech.
Yeah.
I just
get Sam to do it.
No, Snake. It was something, yeah. I think we're kind of joking a week or two back where Ollie's been doing some rock work and everything like that, and sort of like, be careful, otherwise Tech will have you doing that for his mock.
Oh no, honestly, like the meltdown I was having to in the end was like last week. I was like, Ollie, please, and he was there. Like, it was so helpful. It was again on one of my member streams as well. He was in chat, like, it'll be okay. I mean, he was sending me like tons of different pictures for reference and stuff. It was very helpful. But I had a proper moment with Ollie about a week or so back, just in complete meltdown.
Yeah, seeing the cogs trying to turn, you're like, you clearly never done anything like it.
Yeah.
Like, where do I start?
Yeah. I think like in some ways it comes from like, I think actually the biggest problem was for large chunks of this mock and just any mock in general, the way I kind of work and where I start is usually from whether it be like a piece or a technique or something will like really inspire the majority of the build. So for for example, like with when I made the actual pod, there's this piece that's like a rounded top with a little pin in it. It looks like I can't remember what the piece is called. It's a really expensive piece. But it works like really well for the center of the engine detail of Anakin's pod. And once I saw that, I knew the scale of it and I could build off of everything, and it came together like really nicely after that. But rock work and just all these like natural terrains and stuff is one of those things. It's like you're never going to be able to accurately represent every single curve and like everything that you see like on screen or something. So you kind of just got to go for it. But then when I've got no like reference point, I'm a bit like, does that technique actually look enough like that? But
yeah, there's a lot of kind of start doing it, ripping it down, or for me at least, do it, rip it down, do it again, rip it down, and just like random, because especially like rock work, anything that's trying to be natural, if you're too rigid in it, it's not going to look natural.
Exactly. Yeah, you can definitely overthink parts, and that was very much what I was doing in this moment. So it's just like,
got to the point of like, can I just
mean like this right here?
Nice.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was overthinking.
Yeah.
To the extreme. Yeah. But I also have anxiety, so I naturally overthink anyway. So
yeah, I'll put off. I think that's why. Honestly, the fundamental reason why I put off so many of my mocks is it does come down to like anxiety of starting or like wanting it. I think because it doesn't help having friends like Sam, who is such a talented mock builder, that it's like he sets the bar very high, and I really don't want this. The idea when we do these collabs, whether it be like a Gonkler collab or whether it be like this thing that me and Sam are doing or whatever, like I don't want to be the one that you can go, oh, that's his part. Like I wanted to feel like integrated. I wanted to feel like a part of it. And this one with me and Sam as well, because there are certain chunks where it's like he does a bit, I do a bit, he does a bit, I do a bit. We really have tried our hardest to make this as seamless as it is and as uniform as it can be in certain ways. So I hope that comes to fruition. I hope it gets finished. So we'll see in a couple of weeks' time. God.
Regretting missing Bricktastic this year.
Yeah. We went too big.
This was the mention Bricktastic. I was just going to say, John, do you remember roughly where you sort of started to cut out with your story?
Yes, I think I probably do. Yeah, apologies. I suddenly realised everyone had gone quiet and it was just me. But I was just saying, I know a couple of AFOLs who got together as AFOLs. One of them was working for Lego. Got a phone call from Lego basically to say, we've got about 4 hours. We need to clear a warehouse. They turned up with a van at this warehouse to discover there was 150 pallets full of Lego, which was going to get chucked in a shredder in 4 hours' time. So it was like, just fill up your van, take whatever you can. They got like a box just of horses, as one example. Just like chuck that in. A stack of base plates, a load, just what? And they made barely a dent in this room. There was like 150 pallets worth, and they took like 2 pallets worth of stuff that just got given free. And the other 148 pallets worth of Lego just got chucked in a shredder.
That's mad, because 2 pallets worth is a lot.
I wonder why this wasn't given to charity or hospitals. And
I was just thinking that too. Why not just go to a hospital?
So
like a children's hospital?
Yeah, part of the thing for hospitals and stuff, it's the logistics of doing, like, sets are easy because they're a retail thing. It's very easy to do. Kids don't argue if they all just get a set. And that's why, like, Fairy Bricks, they get a lot of sets donated. So Lego will sometimes give them sets that then go out. And obviously Bricktastic, they make money there and stuff as well. But when it's odd parts, Fairy Bricks have had some of those odd parts. And I think they've started doing that now instead of the Play Brick boxes. Some of them go out to places like Fairy Bricks for charity. But again, in order to do that, Lego would have to pay somebody to then be the charity coordinator that then works with those charities to make sure that it isn't going to the wrong charity. And what happens if it turns out that hospital actually only treats Nazis, or, you know, you can just imagine the press. It's all the kind of things that they have to think about. Whereas when it's just give it out to somebody locally, keep it quiet, and it's all kind of done. I think that's the sort of thing where that ends up sort of happening. But
just get, if you got 150 pallets, it's like, here, take the forklift from there, drive it over there, and put the things in the shredder. Like, you know, you don't have any of that. You know, you're paying the forklift driver who's already there.
And to them, they needed to set that building up ready for the next production line or whatever. And if they didn't do it that day, they've lost another week's worth of income on it. They've missed their slot in the production schedule. So it's kind of like, actually, this has happened. They've got to get rid of it. And I think part of it as well is, the other thing is, if they did just sell that out of the factory, okay, they could sell that. But again, that's money that an AFOL has to spend on Lego, and the AFOL will still spend the same amount of money on Lego, but they'll buy it at retail prices. Because a lot of people, you know, a lot of AFOLs will have a budget, and they might spend $200 a month or something like that. And it kind of almost doesn't matter what they're buying, because they'll spend all the money that they can on Lego. So actually, they can sell you less Lego for the same amount of money. That kind of works for Lego as a company.
But it's still strange, because Lego is not a little company. They must have lorries or vans by the dozens all around the world. Why not just ship the stuff that is in this one warehouse to other warehouses? If you do not want
still
to
much
destroy it.
cheaper.
Logistical. They still have to organize it, and
to them the cost of plastic. So just the factory in Billund, bearing in mind that's one of the smaller factories, just the factory in Billund uses 80 tons of plastic per day. So they go through like 80 tons worth of Lego pellets in a day. So actually, like 150 pallets, that's, you know, it's a fraction of a day's worth of. It's just not worth the effort. It's a cost. It's an opportunity cost rather than an actual like value of the stuff, because you know, it's the time it takes to make that is where their cost comes in. And
But that is really depressing, because that would mean that the plastic that I have on the table is only pennies, and that at a certain number of sets sold, it's just pure money printing. Once
capitalism.
So you've got to remember, like when Lego makes a new mold, the new mold for a new part will cost them between, probably, I think it's in the region of 60 to 150,000 euros to make the mold for a single piece. If it's a really complicated piece, it could be pushing like $150,000, that kind of price. And a cheap, simple piece is like 40, 50, 60,000 just to make a single mold for a piece. So that's why there's a limited number of things. But once you've made that piece is good for, you know, millions and millions of bricks before you need to make another one. And so like the cost to do it, it's in the tooling, it's in the setting up of that thing, it's in the organization of the production line. You need to plan months in advance, years in advance, that you're going to have to make X amount of a part, not too early, so that that part can then be held in supply, so that it can then be routed to go into this set, so that you can get rid of all of the other 58 parts for that small polybag set at the same time, so they're gone and out the way. But actually, in the meantime, you're still trying to collect up the 4,000 pieces for that new castle set that Lego's just decided to make, that massive, great big castle set. Actually, that one, you've got to have a lot of pieces that aren't in the boxes until everything else is ready. So it's the logistics of it. And in terms of just, could you stick it in a van and send it somewhere else? Actually, those vans are already booked up months in advance, ready to send the thing somewhere else. And there'll be some slack, obviously, for like a van that breaks down or whatever. But, you know, in general, everything is so well planned, because it has to be, because at that scale, you just can't afford to just be wasting money by not using space effectively. And
with companies, because I work in a factory as well, like with companies, if you have idle stock, each pallet is sitting there, costs a certain amount of money per day, per week, for it to just sit there and not do anything. So
Yeah.
it has a value, and it's just sitting there doing nothing, and that's costing the company. So idle stock is actually a cost to companies just as much as, you know, stuff that's in
Because
production.
you've got to pay for security for that warehouse. You've got to pay for heating and lighting. You've got to still pay for all of those bits. And yeah, I don't know who's actually been to one of the Lego warehouses, the Lego sort of factories, but the warehouse where the stock is, there will be like tens of millions of bricks in a computerized warehouse that can pull out and stack those bits, and actually a whole bunch of odd pallets of the wrong pieces that have been, you know, fallen out of broken sets or whatever. That's not something that easily fits in your you know, ready planned setup.
That's a very interesting thought, because that would bring us right back to us AFOLs, Lego community, and the investment factor, because buying a set for €100 and putting it on the shelf, even if someone gave you €100 in 10 years, these €100 are not really worth €100 anymore. They're just, I don't know, €95. So you lost theoretically money, even if you got the money exactly what you spent on it. Not to mention that you had to spend heating it, keeping it safe.
And don't forget as well, if you've got a Lego room, you know, a bunch of us on this have probably got a Lego storage room.
Yeah.
If you emptied that room out and got rid of that Lego, you could take in a lodger, you could take in like a tenant, and you could make €400 or €500 a month, $400 or $500 pounds a month, which you could then buy a load more Lego with, which you could then put in a room if only there wasn't a lodger in it.
A storage unit, and then
it's this thing that never quite and so actually, if you know, I know,
John, I have the solution for you. You need to have a tenant who's into Lego, who doesn't mind that you put the Lego into the room that he rents from you.
who doesn't mind the fact that his bed is made of Lego. This is the problem. I used to have a lodger, but the lodger moved out, and that became
Was
the
it
Lego
because of the
room.
Lego?
No, it was,
This wasn't just a metaphor for John. This was real life experience.
And so the money that I lost from not having that lodger meant I didn't have as much spare cash anymore, which was good because it slowed down the Lego buying because I didn't have that spare cash. But I know a couple of people now that have got second houses just to store Lego in. And when you think, like, actually, if you rented that house out, you could make £15,000-20,000 a year in rent maybe from that house. Or I know people with storage units where they're paying £400 a month just to store Lego. And you just think, and I do kind of wonder, like, my storage isn't anything like that. I've not got whole houses full of stuff, but I've got a Lego room, and I sort of think that all the drawers of storage in there, if I just got rid of all of that and just bought stuff from Bricklink when I needed it, if I did all my building and designing on Studio and only bought the pieces that I needed, I could effectively be paying somebody else to store it for me and just buy the bits when I need them and then sell them on when I'm done. But yeah, it's one of those exercises where you kind of have to think, right, how much time am I spending organizing my storage versus how much time and money would I spend buying it on Bricklink?
Yeah, because
it's interesting maths.
Yeah, that's one of the things when we're going through, and like we had the Bricklink store and things like that, and you'll be designing something, and then it's sort of like, okay, I can look and see, okay, I've got some of these parts and things like that, but because I'm buying from the others, it's like it's more time and cost effective for me to be buying it off somebody to pick it and whatever else and have it come to me in an envelope than for me to run around the house and try to figure out where stuff is. So I'm very much now going much the other way in terms of I think I'll do most stuff on Designer, and the projects which I like to do lend itself to that, and then do all that, and then I've cleared out a lot of the other space, and you know, those pad cups of stuff that you got, which you thought maybe one day I'll use it, and been sitting there for the last 4 or 5 years. It's like, no. But
Pad cups are my Achilles heel. It's too convenient to just buy pad cups from the local store. But I do find myself suddenly wanting to build a giant something, and it's like, aha, I've got thousands of those bits that I bought just for this very instance. But if I didn't have them, I just wouldn't build that. I'd build something else. I'd work on my backlog instead, and I really probably wouldn't care or know the difference. Yeah.
It does happen though. I found that recently, where I've had it a couple of times, in fact, in the last 2 weeks. It's like, I knew this random bit that I got, hundreds of, would come in handy like 2 years after getting them. All worth it. All worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is Lady McBrick's most unfavored time of the evening. It's her pumpkin hour. So being the hour in front in good old Germany there. Got work and things that she'll need to get to tomorrow. So did you want to just give a plug for anything that you've got coming up and how'd you get on with your build sort of thing?
Yeah. I made the ground floor, so the basic layout is done. Now I decided that I will close it up and I will take it from there. But first, this is now the stage where I need to close it up in order to make it a solid bit all the way through. Yeah, and I will be able to maybe open it up in some form. I'm not sure about that yet, but I will try to figure it out. But that's now decided. Will be closed up from here on. Yeah. So,
Cool.
Yeah. Made a decision. Yeah. As for the future, I will be missing you. I don't know what my Thursdays will be like without you. It's
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. No.
That's my intention. I can't thank you enough for welcoming me, giving me a place to stay, being so understanding for me, having to go to sleep early, because midnight is really a threshold where I need to go to bed and see that I get some shut eye, so that I'm at least kind of efficient in the German style in the morning and not like a zombie walking around, without a pulse. Yeah, but it really meant a lot to me the last year, being here with you, having fun, building, chatting, exposing you to my German humor. Yeah, I'm so grateful for you.
Wondering what you were going to say about exposing there.
No, it's I've loved having you on all the time, and as much as we joke about it, some of the one-liners and things that you come out with, so much, so entertaining, and it's hilarious. And I do mean it when I've been going back through, and it's sort of like there's so much stuff I could have used in some of the videos and things, but no, it's always enjoyed having you on and bringing your perspective on things. It's always appreciated.
Thank you very much. It really means a lot to me.
Brilliant. And just quickly, when's the next time you're streaming with Sir Awesome Fishy? Is that tomorrow or the following week?
The following week.
Okay, so cool. That's your Instagram every second Friday, 3
p.m.
3 p.m.
UK time, right?
Oh, brilliant, excellent. All right then. We'll see you in a week's time on your stream then.
I can't wait. Thank you very much. Be good, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. See you later. Okay, cool. And with that, I think that Shy has just come back from probably his hour in traffic to join us and increase his productivity at work. So, how'd you get on?
It wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I've always heard that about LA. It's sort of like it's nice and spread out, and it takes you forever to go anywhere.
Yes, that's entirely accurate.
Okay, I haven't missed much then. And just catch up on a few comments here then. Excuse me. Donated all my books, DVDs, 90% to allow Lego to move with me. Good to hear, Renard. Madlib, my DVD collection went into boxes in the attic to make room for a backlog. Trevor, I've gotten to be more choosy though on what sets to go for in his build. I'm rapidly running out of space. Yeah, that's been the interesting thing. I think as we're sort of been hearing through everyone's stories and things, depending upon how long you've been into the hobby, there's a common sort of familiarity where, you know, when you first start out, you're kind of a bit starry-eyed and, you know, have plenty of space forever. And I think when Trevor first started the stream, he was a little bit in that, having lots of space, and now he's a year on sort of running into the running out of space problem. Menard, best thing I ever did was to make a pab menu for my wall. Now I can shop my pab parts before getting anything new. Yeah, that's sometimes a frustrating thing when you get a thing of stuff that you've got stored away, and then you order stuff from Bricklink, and it comes in, and then like the next day you go, wait a minute, I actually had a whole bunch of these already in the house.
Yep.
When will you be back after the break? If you're referring to the stream, it's going to be an indefinite break, and we'll just sort of see how sort of long we sort out some of the other life things. And Trevor saying, take care, Lady McBreath. Lady McBreath, I'm reading.
She's only been gone for 2 minutes, and you're going to take her place.
Hey, McBreath, you're a breath of fresh air. That was I had to drop out the one which I was going to do. I think it was like last week. It was Traveling Noodles. What did I say? Was it Traveling Naked or something?
Yeah, exactly.
I used to never take myself too seriously, and yeah, McBreath. The other thing which has sort of popped up, which is still, we have the AFOL days, which we sort of, there's information starting to float around that they have put them on hold a little bit indefinitely, and
Liberty.
Potentially, right? It's not confirmed, is it? It's kind of.
I'm just gonna jump in and say probably we shouldn't be discussing it on a public thing, because it's one of those things, isn't it, that shouldn't be widely sort of shouted, because if we want to make sure they bring things back, that's stuff that we won't talk about, you know.
That stuff always irks me as well, though, because like anyone can join. Like, it's not the whole like, oh, you shouldn't talk about log bulk, or you shouldn't talk about this, and you shouldn't talk about that. It's like, well, what? Why you do? If it's like that big of a problem, or it's causing you that much of an issue, don't do it.
There is internal politics with Lego. So the Lego group has a team of people who are actively trying to sell stuff to people for as much as possible, and then there's a team that work with the AFOLs who are trying to kind of do us favors on stuff. And the one group have got a budget, and the other group are spending money. And so there's a kind of constant fight between that, and it's the same thing with all of the kind of fan media. There's a cost of looking after those fan media versus a benefit of doing it. And
but but they're not like, so for in the example of like log bulk or even the AFOL Appreciation Day, Lego aren't losing anything giving us like, it doesn't cost them to give 20% discount 4 times a year.
So you say that, but how many AFOLs would buy exactly the same sets at full price if there wasn't a discount? An awful lot of them. An awful lot of them would still, because there's a lot of people
go elsewhere. A lot of people will go elsewhere.
Yeah, some people would go to third parties
from places where they are.
And fair enough, and a lot of the stuff on there, you're right, because a lot of it actually, the average set, like the average city set, you can get 30% discounted from Amazon or somewhere like that anyway, can't you? But the point is, there's a lot of people who will save up and get the sets that aren't discounted from Amazon, and actually they would have bought them at full price if they didn't get the discount. So there is, again, it's that opportunity cost of not being able to sell things at full price later. So yeah, you're right. They can still make a profit on a reduced price, but they can make a bigger profit by selling things for more money.
But
But
even if that is their justification for it, like it's 4 times a year. Like, come on, it's hardly like it's 4 times a year. You usually get a week or maybe 2 weeks notice at best. So it's not like you can go in there and go and buy, oh, I'm gonna have all the sets from that quarter that I've missed out on. Like, you're probably gonna spend 200, 300, 400 quid max. Like, they're missing out on 100 quid from a few AFOLs. I don't know. I just think the whole premise of, like, if you're going to offer something and be so secretive about it, I think it's kind of
so. I think you've hit the kind of message, which is it's from a few AFOLs rather than just from every single person who can just wait. Because if it's you only get like 2 weeks notice for that particular thing, but you know it's going to come in that quarter. So actually, you know that there will be another one before Christmas or whatever. So yeah. I think that's the trade-off, and whether or not any of us are correct on this, there's probably similar conversations to what we're having right now going on in those internal offices. Mm-hmm. So whether we're, Tech, whether you're absolutely right, and actually, you know what, it probably doesn't make a grand bit of difference. There's probably somebody arguing the other side.
Why don't they call it Lug Day instead of AFOL Day? Because you can't really only get those during AFOL days only apply to lugs.
Because they actually don't. The discount isn't necessarily just for lugs. There's been people in land that have communities that have been given access to AFOL Appreciation Day.
And part of the fact is that lugs aren't even called lugs. There are lugs now because it's recognised Lego user groups, and Lego changes the name of what they call everybody every few years. So.
I still think the name's kind of lame to call it that when it's not open to everybody. That makes sense.
Well, the thing is, it is open to everybody if they just join a lug. And
it's not.
So
I mean, like for me, I can't join a lug. So I'm never going to be able to get that.
You can join a lug. There's a lot of lugs that you can join
remotely. My local lug
remotely.
does not like me, and I don't have time for it. There's another one.
But then you've got the point is, you see, they want you to be in a lug, because if you're in a lug, you're more likely to then be involved and build a big model as a collaborative thing for a show, which then gets into the local paper.
Oh, you must
which
not
then
know
gets
Lola,
a bit more. I didn't say you specifically would, but like you're more likely as the average person, and out of the 800,000 AFOLs that are registered in various lugs around the globe, or whatever that exact number is now, the chances are that you are going to be more likely to then do something that gets in the local press, that gets them a bit more positive advertising, that makes them a bit more money. So,
and for that reason, don't cancel my AFOL day for 4 times a year.
Shy, have you ever been to the UK?
Yes.
So I think that qualifies you for joining Brickish.
Hey, yes.
Yeah.
So if you find the time, Shy, I run the London AFOLs, and there's like 800 of us. So the membership there is pretty easy to get into as well.
Woo!
Let me know.
There is an online lug called Dream Builders Lug.
Oh yeah.
You could join that one very easily. I'm a member of that one, except they're not official yet. They're still waiting to be official.
Don't worry, Shy. Fake lug will be there soon.
I know, so I'm saying fake lug
on the rise. A few more shows.
No, that's cool. I mean, I know you guys aren't. I mean, I don't know. I've heard them trying to take it away for like what? This is the second year of an attempt or sound of that going away, but I feel like lugs have been getting stuff taken away from them for a while. So when is it going to be like everything's gone? Like when are they going to take away lug bulk? Is the next question.
Well, and the amounts haven't increased over the years in proportion with inflation. So actually, it's something that's been being taken away slowly just by inflation eating into things. Again, without getting into specifics on prices or anything like that, we can talk that far. But yeah, it's one of those things. And I think the answer is all the while they can, without actually losing money, is probably the answer to some degree. because actually all the while we're still going to buy stuff, whether we get stuff, you know, at full retail price or Bricklink price or wherever price, you know, pick a brick price or whatever. If there's people that want to build things, people will buy stuff and people will build things. So it's, yeah.
It was something which I think, was it Craig last week or the week before, he sort of hinted at it, or sort of saying, you know, obviously he's been sort of involved in running their lug or close to it for quite some time in terms of, you know, lugs in a pre-social media influencer. Be interested to get your take on this, John. Pre that, the lugs were there to help, you know, sort of get Lego out and known and things like that. But then over time, as you've had more and more of the social media influencer, the rise of that, sending them a few sets and, you know, asking them the same survey questions becomes a bit more cost effective. I don't want to. I mean, what's
it's a bigger. It's a massive return on investment, isn't it? Like, I think we've probably seen there's been a few cases where Lego have done, you know, interactions with YouTubers that, like Minecraft YouTubers, for example. But if Lego goes out to a Minecraft YouTuber with 10 million subscribers and says to somebody like Grian or Mumbo Jumbo, I think there are a couple of examples where they've gone to and said, like, hey, let's do an integration with you. Lego are probably paying that YouTuber 50,000 quid.
Yeah.
For that integration. Whereas actually Lego don't spend £50,000 on all of the Minecraft sets that they send out to all of the fan media combined, who just go and make a bunch of videos for them for free.
Yeah.
So actually, for the cost of one single integration, and I think we're at a point now where, like Matt, to your point, like when lugs started, like Brickish has been going for over 20 years, and you know, if you think what the internet was like 20 years ago, there was no broadband. Like broadband, the fastest broadband you'd get would be 0.5 megabit connection, and like it's a very different world. There wasn't streaming video and stuff back when these lug kind of started. So the idea of people doing, like, YouTube's what, 16 years old, so you know it predates that era when this sort of thing started. We're at a point now where I saw something about Mr. Beast the other day. Mr. Beast was looking at the cost of advertising, and obviously to advertise in a Mr. Beast video, most companies don't have a social media budget that's big enough to afford the cost of a single advert for a Mr. Beast video. It's at the point now where it's cheaper to buy an advert in the Super Bowl than it is to buy an advert in a Mr. Beast video, because the viewership has grown. The world has just changed.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where actually the cost of running, I mean, Lego has what, 4 or 5 people in their kind of AFOL engagement team. So there's 4 or 5 people they're paying full-time salaries for to work with AFOLs. Actually, the cost of that is the equivalent of like one big ad integration for a couple of YouTubers for like one set. So when you kind of look at the budget of it, you know, it isn't free to give us free stuff. It costs the cost of the actual stuff, but it also costs the cost of running like 3 or 4 or 5 or however many full-time employees there are just working in that AFOL relations role. So, you know,
if you've ever got to go and put in just the production value on putting an ad together, you know, that will cover you sending out and the person's roles and blah, 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 blah. And never mind, okay, yes, you can do a Super Bowl ad and it's really expensive, blah, 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 versus a Mr. Beast. I bet you the Mr. Beast one, though, is a lot more targeted. Like, you're going to be going in there, like, you know.
And that's why it's more expensive, because actually you can target the people who will go. And that's why Mr. Beast has said now that he's at the point where he can't afford to work with advertisers, which is why things like Mr. Beast bars exist, because he sells chocolate bars now, because actually his own company is the only way he can afford to advertise, because he has to pay for himself because no one else can afford him. You know, it's that sort of thing. Yeah. And it kind of escalates, doesn't it? And Lego aren't at the scale of spending adverts in a Mr. Beast video, but they're doing integrations with, like, you know, 10 million subscriber YouTube channels and things. And there's a lot of stuff where they'll give out free tickets to an event and somebody might come along for nothing, but they will also pay, I don't know how much their social media budget per year is, but they're spending a lot of money, you know, on influencers just to do things. And so, yeah, in terms of the value of the traditional lug structure, whereas back 20 years ago, we were the only people who would be making a big Lego thing that the general member of the public would ever get to see, other than if they went to a Legoland, if there was one near them. 30 years ago, there were only like 2 Legolands. Now there's 10 of them around the planet, and that's still not that many. Most people's interaction with Lego is they're probably more likely to maybe go to a Legoland once when they're a kid. And then other than that, it is actually things like the local shows, which again, we've got to a point now in the UK, I don't know what it's like in the US, but there's more and more commercial shows now that are being run just for the resellers. And there's less and less models at those shows and more just market stalls selling stuff. And so I don't know, we are still that light in the darkness of just random retail. We are still the people that kind of make stuff that's exciting and interesting for people to go and see. So yeah.
And this is, I think just moving sideways a little bit in terms of, we don't have, that I've seen or aware of, the equivalent of in the UK of bricks and minifigs, which is what done their 100th store now. So in terms of, that retail footprint, and, there's something to that in terms of, I think, was it Shy? I think maybe it was, if you've got a whole bunch of stuff that you want to move quickly in terms of, I'm running out of space, you can walk in and do it. Whereas here, it's just such a pain, whether it's an eBay or whatever. And the effort and things. So
they only really give you like 40% of what it's worth at most, and that's with credit. So it's not even a lot of money for what do you think it is.
No, but in terms of if you want to do that quickly,
easy.
It's the bricks and mortar store. It's that sort of thing. They've got to buy cheap to sell high. But if you then have to do the alternative in terms of doing eBay listings, taking photos, waiting around for a week, answering lots of dumb questions, packaging up, somebody defrauding you at the end of the day, sending it back, all that sort of nonsense, as opposed to here, I'm only getting 40% of my value, but I'm walking away in 5 minutes. It's very different things. Is it the sort of thing that we're getting to the point where, Tech sort of saying earlier before in terms of, I'm going into the store 4 times a week, blah, 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 in a wider context, have the lugs from the Lego perspective serve their purpose, and they've now been able to move on to something else, and it's almost inevitable that they're just going to wind it down?
I hope not, but I think we definitely have less value. There are a lot more sources of Lego information than just you'd get it from the local group of people that you chat to offline. Because now most of the information that you would have got from your friends, like us lot chatting tonight, actually, if we weren't chatting here tonight, we could be communicating just in the chat section of someone's random YouTube video, or we could be in an online lug talking to the members of our online lug. And actually, the difference between those, for some communities, you get a nice chat going on a YouTube comment section. You'll see those same people chatting again and again. Actually, if they weren't here traditionally, they would have only had that within a lug structure. Now those same regular chatters can actually be here as well, and Lego doesn't have to pay Matt to run these things. If Lego did pay Matt to run these things, maybe he wouldn't be semi-retiring for a while.
Well, maybe I'd have technology that works.
No, if Lego was paying for it, you definitely wouldn't have technology that works.
No. Yeah, your internet's probably more stable. But is there, as much as we're saying Lego's leaving lugs, is there also a thing about, cause I've only joined a lug this year, and I'm not that active in it because I'm on the Brickish one, but it's because it's an online forum, and I don't really go to forums very often. I am very much a social media consumer and stuff. So is there also a thing about lugs need to kind of maybe step a bit further into more modern?
There's definitely a factor of that, and Brickish is very much divided between, because there's an awful lot of people who don't really use the forum, but they use the Brickish Facebook group. because there's Brickish who's active on Facebook, and then you've got that danger of that kind of bifurcation of the people that have been there for 20 years who don't like Facebook. And the reason they're in a lug is because they don't like Facebook. That's why they want to be in a local kind of thing. And Brickish is the one that organises a lot of the big national shows. So I've been a member of Brickish for a long time, but I'm not very active in the forum. But I do try and go along to the shows, and I help out with things kind of where I can, because I got too busy. I joined London AFOLs not long after joining Brickish. And yeah, exactly. Brickish Facebook is more active, and I love Brickish, and I love the Brickish people there, but like there's only so much time that you've got, and ShyTime, to your point, like you don't have time to deal with a lug. I know the feeling, and I got to the point where I was sort of helping out more and more in London AFOLs, and then now 10 years later I'm running London AFOLs because I'd sort of my time got sucked into it so much to the point where the previous dictator stepped down and sort of, right, John, you can do it instead. Okay, fine. So hence we are here now. But so yeah, I'd love to have more time to do it, but I get to that point where I go along to our meetups. We actually have a face-to-face meetup for London AFOL. So if any of you are in London, the second Monday of every month, we meet up in a pub in London, and actually it's a nice time to actually turn off the computer and actually get to do face-to-face stuff. So we build stuff face-to-face, and that's the main focus for London AFOLs, because there's online options elsewhere. But we do have an active online thing, and again, we use an app for that, and you know we've got that sort of thing. But yeah, it's just, how do you spend your time? There's only so many places you can spend your time, and there's only so many places you can spend your time building. So, you know, people kind of have to prioritize. I end up going along to the meetups, and most of the time I don't actually build anything. I end up just kind of organizing stuff and chatting to people. Despite having, you know, boxes of Lego everywhere, quite often I'll go there and not actually get to touch any of it. So yeah, it's good to kind of get away to do shows and stuff, and so Brickish is a good way to do that. And but yeah, in answer to your question of should clubs kind of join in, do more technology, I think a lot of them do, but I think there's enough that there is a mixture. If you just want an online lug, just join an online lug. If you want a lug that does local shows, join a local lug that you can do local shows with. If you want a national lug like Brickish, do that as well. Like a lot of our members are members of Brickish and London AFOLs. A lot of our members are members of both, because we'll do stuff together. You know, we'll do stuff between us. We built the big castle thing last year, and most of the people on that were both Brickish and London AFOLs members. So
that castle was amazing, I have to say. Those turrets were great.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, John designed it all, so it's that's all him. So maybe he's someone you can grab for one of your mock shows one time. So.
Yeah, that's already going through my head. I'm going to get in touch with you, John. We'll do a stream about mocking, so I was hoping to, say anything.
Yeah, no, happy to do it. But yeah, when somebody was talking earlier, and somebody shared the picture of the rock work. For that castle, I built a dry stone wall around a wheat field, and I tell you what, it did my head in more just building the uneven, randomized dry stone wall than it did building a 4,500 piece like cylindrical castle tower with a built-in spiral staircase. Just because, like, I built, if it isn't symmetrical, there's something wrong with it. It's like my brain just works that way. It's like I work in geometry. I tell you what, this geodesic dome thing is doing my head in, because the way that the domes work, you can't make it with pure hexagons. It has to be a mixture of hexagons and pentagons. And the problem is when you're kind of going around, I'm using these minifigure weapon ring pieces, and of course they've only got 3 connections, so I've then got clips to connect separately onto them. But you have to then meet 5 of these together. So it doesn't quite want to work, because you've got to connect it with a clip on one side, which is fine because it clips into the hole in the other side. But when you go around 5 of them, they don't actually meet up at the end. So trying to get the geometry right in your head, I haven't actually made much progress while I've been talking tonight. It's listening to everybody, and between listening and talking, I'm not going to start cutting pieces for the right length, because you need like 1/10 of a millimeter accuracy for building the dome. Otherwise, the whole thing just kind of warps and twists in the wrong places. So it's not something to try and do while I'm. But yeah, so geometry I do. I can do geometry things.
Cool. All right then. We're starting to push up against the 3-hour mark, so we might sort of start winding it down, sort of go through what people have been working on and what's sort of coming up on your socials as such. So we were talking sort of mocks and things like that, and in the right place. So Brick Askew, what have you been sort of working on, and what's coming up for you?
I don't know if it looks like I've made any progress, but that's as far as I've got. I've been building up that bit mostly.
It looks taller than it did before.
Yeah.
Yeah, on this side it does. Yeah, so that's probably going to be my main focus. I haven't got any plans for social media for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, until do mock-heads again.
Mock-heads?
Sorry?
Is your show?
The 21st? 2 weeks yesterday. So yeah, Wednesday 21st, 8 o'clock. We've got TJ coming on to have a talk.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, he's obviously been doing his huge Ninjago mocks and everything like that, and yeah, it'd be cool to see where he's at with that there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just sort of looking at one of the comments there, it's like Sam's here, everyone. Yeah, Beck's being so quiet, like he's just being focused. There's so much pod racing mock being built down there.
Yeah, building away. Sorry, I was on mute. I was just so busy.
Yeah, you can see the bricks flying in the background.
Yeah. Cool. All right then. And one brick stud on this Sonic type day. How did you get on with your build?
So built this one, which I believe her name is Rogue, if I'm right. And yeah, it's a good build. That is. Seems to be trying to steal a giant Chaos Emerald. The minifigure is amazing. I love a minifigure with a molded head. And then not the biggest fan of mechs, but this one's all right. That's got knuckles in.
Oh, cool.
Really like that.
Beefy.
Yeah, it is. It is beefy. And social media, not too sure. However, every Sunday, this Sunday also, I am streaming with FabBlondie on her channel, FabBlondie Bricks, with also Lady MacBrick.
No, brilliant. Okay, yeah, no, just always good. I think I'm sure FabBlondie will give us the time in doing the conversion. I think it's usually Sunday, is it 7 o'clock UK time?
That's right.
Something like that.
I don't know the UK time. I know the US time.
Yeah.
7 UK.
7 UK. Okay, we got that there. And just before we've head into that, we got not that Sam Smith. Tech, I can't wait to hear all about your progress. Maybe even see it. Excuse me. Just packed all 3 base plates I got done.
Sorry.
Very convenient. And so leading into that, it doesn't sound like Tech you'll be showing us what you managed to get through tonight.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I was so keen to get it packed away and all in the order. No, I was opening some Bricklink orders, going through some stuff. And yeah, a lot of procrastinating to be honest, but we'll be okay. It'll be okay. I promise. Maybe.
It's all good. You got more than 24 hours to go, so it's
exactly. I got loads of time. It's fine.
Cool. And what are you got sort of crying into the microphone? Yeah. You're not helping your cause.
I know. Yeah.
What do you got coming up on your sort of socials?
Next week on Tuesday there'll be a build stream. I will be building one of the helmets, either Rex or Cody. I got one of those for I got both of those for my birthday last week, so I'll be building one of those probably. That'll be on Tuesday. And then my members content will just be working more on the pod race stuff. I think I'll be doing one on Saturday evening. So yeah, that'll be for members, but yeah, just not too much in terms of videos at the moment. Once Bricktastic's done, then we will be posting build updates on the we'll be going back and and uploading like a build series on the pod race. So yeah, be on the lookout for that in a few weeks.
Oh, cool. Excellent. We'll look forward to that. Have you actually been shooting any footage for that, or is that, I think, was it Coconut Bricks or one of those other guys that sort of said, yeah, you sort of do the first part, you forget to film the rest, and then you get to the end and it's like, oh, we need to film a bit more.
I've been filming a lot of time-lapse footage. So a lot of it will just be like time-lapse footage, and then the one thing about this mock being modular is that I can assemble. I'm going to have to take a lot of the sections apart to transport it anyway. So when it comes to just like, if there's any bits that I'm missing, I can just like film me putting together that particular section, and it should hopefully work in the video. But yeah, I've just been trying to film as many time lapses as I can, and I can kind of just talk over what I'm doing anyway. Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like that sometimes works a lot better than trying like having something in front of you and then like filming it for like 2 minutes and waffling. I feel like the visuals of a time lapse is probably a bit more appealing, and you can listen. You probably take in more information listening than you do if you're just following a camera. There'll be certain clips that do that, but I think the time lapse thing, I think personally, works a little bit better for a build series.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, we'll look forward to seeing how that goes there. And Monarch's asking an early question here. What collabs you got planned with Sam for next year?
Don't know about that. We have said, so just like pure coincidentally, that the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace is this year, and obviously we're doing the Pod Racer mock, so maybe it would be kind of cool for each 25th anniversary of the prequel films to do like a big collab, like me and him. So maybe in a few years you might see an Attack of the Clones mock, but we'll probably need some recovery time, some healthy time apart.
Cool. And just seeing Zeusy coming in there saying hi, good to see you again. And yeah, Tech, I appreciate you jumping on, and also in the early part of the season, you're on a lot of the streams, and it was good to sort of catch up and chat over some things. So it's great to have you come back on. So Brickbods, how'd you guys get on tonight, and what do you got coming up on your socials?
I think we've made some healthy progress on sorting, and then Ian got inspired to do some building and has now trashed the room. So
fine.
You've taken out like 4 different drawers
that need to go
and
back
not put
in.
them back.
It's fine.
Even on like 7-year-old can do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but we finished our mock for Bricktastic.
Yeah,
So
you can have a sneak peek. It's there you go.
There we go. Oh my
It's
god.
cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're at Bricktastic, you'll get to see it, and if you're not, then I'm sure it'll be on social media afterwards. We will be streaming the Chinese New Year set on Sunday because it's Chinese New Year, and we'll also be on London Calling tomorrow. So if you want to see, in fact, we'll be on Greg's stream on. Oh my god, we're streaming 4 days in a row. We'll be on Greg's stream on Saturday as well, doing some sort of Friends thing. So yeah, that's a lot of YouTube for us.
It is.
We've got a lot coming up then, and very similar to Tech. You guys were a big part of the early part of the season and things like that. Always loved having you coming on, and the same with Tech as well. Obviously, when you guys sort of left, it just sort of changed. Not so much changed things. It was sad to see you go, and I'm glad that you both, were able to come and join us for the last one of this season. So thanks.
Yeah,
very much.
it was just with.
Yeah, I have to be up at 6 on a Friday,
Yeah.
but today I do not because it's an inset day. Woohoo! So it was actually well planned, this one. So.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, and FabBlondie Bricks, how did you get on with your build, and what do you got sort of coming up on socials?
So I did finish taking apart my stuff like I was talking about doing, and I made my first ever tree. Woohoo!
Yay!
On my forbidden forest. And then I just have to show this. That's Easton. This is a rare sighting. He rarely comes out. So he must be. Aw, damn. I just broke my tree. My tree doesn't grow.
Oh no.
But Easton's more important than the tree, and the tree can be rebuilt. But he rarely comes out in this scene. So I just had to show him off for a second. And then break my tree, because why not?
Why not?
That's a regular occurrence with trees. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so happy with it. It was so pretty.
Well, you did have it on camera, so at least it was there. You can go back and look at it again and rebuild it. So,
Yep.
but
That's the good thing about Lego. You can go back and rebuild it if you break it.
and do it again, yeah. And same sort of thing. It was great having you on the stream earlier, and it was great to meet you during the year or last year when you came out to the UK. And
yes,
appreciated that, and also too when you managed to get your little sig fig as well. Still got that, so really appreciate that.
Yeah, it was
And
great meeting you in London.
yeah, and sort of checking out Leicester Square and all that, and yeah, I just thought it was great because obviously a big Harry Potter fan, and you know Leicester Square is very focused around the big Harry Potter builds and things like that. So
Yeah. Oh my God.
it's,
To go to London as a Harry Potter fan and not go to Leicester Square would have been a crime against Harry Potter and humanity itself. If that tells you my level of Harry Potter fandom, I mean, I'm wearing a Harry Potter t-shirt. My hoodie is a Gryffindor hoodie. Oh, wait, there it is, Gryffindor. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and we always get a good healthy dose of Harry Potter optimism on the stream here with Chris. So it's great that he's been able to find his way over with you guys on Sunday as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. You know, I should
FabBlondie
get that.
Bricks on Sundays is Bricking with Friends, 2:00 Eastern Standard Time. I do Fab Deals on Mondays, and I'm trying to post more because I'm trying to get my channel monetized by the end of the year. So please subscribe and watch videos and go back and watch everything, even though it's crap. To get all I need is my watch hours up. That's all I need.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a good little goal for the year. And I think last time I checked, you're on about, was it 500 odd subs?
Yeah, I got 500 and some odd subs, so I just need watch hours now.
That's yeah.
Because they lowered the standards. Yay!
Oh, that's yeah. Get more people through the door. So, all right, I'm sure you'll hit that milestone in no time. So, and again, thanks very much for popping on and joining us again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And Martin, how did you get on with your build tonight, and what do you got sort of coming up on your socials?
So first little build was in celebration of Lunar New Year. Is a little dragon GWP.
Nice.
Really cute. Just riding along a little cloud there. So it's a nice little build. And then yeah, I finished also the Yoda's Starship. So
Starship there.
Yeah, with a little Yoda inside. So yeah. So that's cool.
A couple. Nice, excellent.
Yeah, and then socials. This Saturday, I will be streaming. I'm going to be doing opening the Viking Village, which is a set I had since day one, and I'm only just starting it this Saturday. It'll probably be a two-parter. So this Saturday and then the following Saturday, I'll do the second part, and then after that, there's not going to be streams for a couple of weeks because obviously there's Bricktastic on the Saturday I'm going up. And the Saturday after that, I'm actually meeting Chris and Trevor in Birmingham. So I'll probably try and get as much filming of other stuff, and we'll probably see a few videos out of it. But yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be great to do that. I mean, even when I got to meet up with Bonnie and she took some video, I think she eventually released it 6-7 months later, but it was always just interesting to sort of see it there. So no, definitely do that because it's always great meeting up with people in real life, particularly if you've been streaming with them for quite some time and things. It's always a great sort of experience to finally see people like properly.
Yeah.
And then half the time you're like, oh, you're taller than I thought.
Every time. I get that every single time.
Or if you meet Greg, you're looking down, you go, oh, shorter than I expected.
We weren't too far wrong with that Jupiter legs comment, were we? Brilliant. Okay, then. Right. And John, how did you get on? I think we caught a preview of not solving the geometry problem.
You sort of caught the preview. So there's going to be a giant, imagine this, each of the triangles will only be about a third or a quarter of the size. So they're going to be a lot smaller. So it's going to be a lot kind of closer together covering over a dome that's going to be a circular base that's 96 studs diameter. So 4 48 by 48 base plates. The base of that is a sneak peek for you. The base of that will be a very detailed floor. So imagine 12 of these making a giant
saber.
bars. That is lightsaber bars. Yeah.
Whoa.
So imagine
You're a very
12 of
patient
these,
man.
12 of these roughly, to make a giant circle with a dome over the top. And then there will be texture, and there's glow in the dark bits and lights and various other things to come. So that is that's part of the display. So for anyone that saw the castle, basically Castle was the very first group big project that London AFOLs did with project support. So like Lug Bulk, there's a project support option as well. And the Castle was the first project support we did. And the second project support we've done is going to be Moonbase, just in time for Lunar New Year. Well, that wasn't really the plan, but so yeah, we will be taking that to the Leicester Space Centre show for Brickish in about 5 weeks' time or something like that, whatever, 4 weeks' time now. So I have a lot of building to go. So I've got, I think, 8 48 by 48 base plates still to build between now and a show in a month's time. So this basically being a part of it, and trying to work out how much I could build that would actually travel, because that's going to go on the train. So yeah, it's fairly sturdy.
Oh wow! Like yeah,
Sneak
it's
peek.
a sneak peek with that. Oh, sorry. Was there anything else you want to give a bit of a plug to?
No, social wise, I'm useless. I had a video that went viral about a year ago, and that was about the last time I uploaded anything to my YouTube channel. So I really should do more, but I've been so busy taking over running London AFOLs for the last year, so that kind of came along a bit out of the blue. So no, not really a lot. Keep an eye on Matt's channel, because I'm sure you'll see pictures of the Moonbase and stuff via Matt or via socials generally. So yeah, keep an eye out.
Yeah.
There'll be
Do
something
you want
coming
to
up.
give just a quick plug for London AFOLs?
Yeah, other than that, basically, if anybody is in London, London AFOLs, just search for us online, London AFOLs, and you will find us. Our main thing is to basically be a base for people who are in London, just to come along face to face. So for a face to face meetup, we meet, apart from a couple of times a year where we don't, sort of Christmas and summer, we basically meet on the second Monday of every month. In central London by Euston Station, in a pub, Square Tavern. So yeah, come and see us if you are in London. If you are visiting from abroad, we do have people visit us on their holidays, so you're more than welcome if you happen to be in the area. And yeah, come and see us.
Yep, great. No, it's good to have other people sort of come along, and Monarch, there are so many bars and things, and that's phenomenal. Yeah, it's when John appeared on a yeah, when he did
you are talking to some. So I have a couple of long-term projects that are sort of secret that I'm not ready to show even sneak peeks of. But to put it into context, talking about how people buy parts, it was worthwhile me getting cheap flights. So from London to Denmark, I can sometimes get flights from like £5, like £4.99 for a flight. So it's possible for me to fly 500 miles to another country just to go to the Pick-a-Brick wall and back again in a day. I did once go to another country just to buy 28 Pick-a-Brick cups full of lightsaber blades.
Wow.
For a
I thought
long-term
the days of
project. So,
flights that cheap were long gone. But
well, that was a few years back when I got the
Right.
£4.99 flights. Yeah, the last flights out were about 40 quid, I think, for the return. So a bit more
Still.
expensive now, but yeah, it was feasible for me to actually go to another country just to visit the Pick-a-Brick wall. So
yeah, and John within the lug is known as the crazy lightsaber blade guy. So he's had, I think when he did the Portugal show a few years ago, Beyond the Brick featured his some of his designs and creations and things. And when he was also on my stream earlier, I can't remember, it was maybe 13, 14 episode. I did a short little couple-minute video of all the different crazy projects he's done. So
go back and add some watch time to Matt's channel. Go and hunt for that one.
Yeah. You just search through all of them. You'll find it eventually.
Just watch them all until you come across it.
Cool. Brilliant. And yeah, it's always great to have you on, John, and catch up and get the perspective from that side of things and see the latest and greatest crazy thing that you're working on too. So thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
Okay, and Shy, what do you sort of hopefully you've increased your productivity and been a fantastic couple of hours. Other than that, I wouldn't imagine you were working on anything, but what do you got sort of coming up on your socials and things?
I should have a video up on all my channels within the next couple weeks. I have Sitting on the Stoop featuring Mr. Saurus or Ross coming up hopefully by early next week, and then a video on my channel, and then a video which Thomas is in a lot on my vlog channel. Shortly after that, hopefully, fingers crossed. That video intimidates me, so I don't know, maybe that might not come out for another year. And then that's pretty much it.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, no, the Sitting on the Stoop, I've really enjoyed those, and I think the last one you had was Jean's version, and getting her take on things, and it's just interesting to see on some issues where she's not very much a pacifist on things. She'll very much go after it, and it's good to see just sort of that aspect as well. And it's funny to see the way you start them out with. So like, thanks for letting me invite myself into your home. So
I mean, I'm not wrong. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, not wrong. No, it's and it's cool. As I said before, it's funny to see those original things. Oh yeah, 30, 40 minutes, and then they all go on. But no, it's great conversation. So I'm glad that you're not sort of limiting it down to that. I know the editing on that must be an absolute killer, but it's great.
Thank you.
Cool. Alrighty then. So we're sort of getting right to the end of it now. Social media sort of stuff, press the share, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Quickly go over to our poll here. I'll just end that off there. We had the question, do people always lose disappears? Do people lose credibility, integrity, reviewing products they don't buy? We're sort of thinking in terms of, in general, but in what's been happening within the Bricklink designer program, and how it was basically never reviewed until they were starting to get handed to them. We said no, interested in anyone's opinion was 6%. Look over there, squirrel was 22%. Yes, how can it be objective? 32%. And coming out on top, it's a bit of a grey area. It was 38%. So seems to be a bit of a split there with what's happening. We did that. I think we had up a bit earlier. If I can just pull it up here again. Always got to find these things. I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone here. I've tried to capture as many people who have commented over the year on all the streams, people who've been involved, also appearing. I'm getting to this point now where I don't want to say. It's just getting hard to do. Just need to get through this. Okay. 50 streams, usually 3 hours each time. People keep coming back and enjoying it and things, and I'm just always amazed at that and the support that we've gotten over the year of that. And to all the guys on the panel who, for the regulars who turn up all the time, and having our chats offline and everything like that, it's great. It's difficult to sort of close something out like this when we've got such a great group of people that we also always sort of chat with and things. What else? I think otherwise, John sort of hinted at it. I'm part of the London AFOL's next collaborative build, which will be the moon base at the Leicester Space Centre I think it's March 9th and 10th or somewhere around there. And again, it'll be another London AFOLs. Went through, John has done a crazy design again. This time I was dumb enough to say, oh, you've done the 30-odd designs. I'll do instructions for all those. So that was 4 or 5 days of my life. And then John still had to go through and clean it up because I made the mistake. I started off doing some of the easy bits and I went, oh, this isn't very much a John design. And then I started seeing some of the other ones. It's like, oh, yes, this is a John design. So it's going to be good to get through all that sort of thing. So I think that's most things all covered off now. Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for watching this season. Appreciate that. Is there anybody else who wanted to say anything before we get out of here?
I just want to say, again, thank you for having us on. I think I speak for all the panelists. It's been great being here every Thursday, and I definitely appreciate it as somebody who's new into the space this year, and it's been wonderful, obviously, getting to chat every Thursday. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to keeping the chat going offline. And yeah, and I will see you all when we come back, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, thank you for giving me the opportunity for appearing on Family Bricks. I'm like I've said before, I am not a social media icon. I'm not an influencer. I don't make content. I don't care about subscribers. I don't care about views. I don't really care a lot about the social media side of things. I don't really embrace it as much as I should do. But you welcomed me with open arms. You just accepted me for me. And, and I couldn't be more grateful. So thank you, Matt, for giving me the opportunity to appear on Family Bricks. I really do mean it, and I appreciate it. I look forward to when you're coming back to start season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when that will be, whether it's next year or the year after that,
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. I'll echo that. Can't really say much more. But yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Bring on the reunion tour.
Yeah, that's no joke up here. So I just, yeah, I appreciate it, and it was always going to be hard for this aspect of it in terms of I've loved catching up with you guys every week, and yeah, we'll obviously still be chatting in the Instagram and everything like that. And yeah, we'll come back at some stage and do the next leg of it all. So cool. Alrighty then. I think with that we will, unless there's any other things, get out of here as such. As always, thanks to everyone who's supported and turned up, and appreciated being able to juggle around tonight and things like that. It was good to have everyone in. So with that, big thank you again. Good morning, good evening, and good night.
Mr. Bigger, give me a super duper.
See ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.